What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Anthony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast. Time to combine. Ryan McCluskey, we are at that stage of the path to the draft now. It's the big week where your future might be decided by people in what you do in pajamas. Yes, if you run a slow 40, if you don't do everything just right, people will write you off their boards. It's one of the most interesting weeks out there, and yeah, we're on the verge of it about to happen.
Yep, it's one of my favorite and least favorite times of the year because I love watching it, but the hysteria, the general lack of intellectual takes it musters, the absolute waffle that people spit out, and the overreactions are mind-numbingly losing brain cells. Yeah, it's a lot of waffle. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make a lot of difference to a lot of people. But for some people, I'd say if they can do something crazy, then yeah, it usually makes a huge difference. And it's never warranted.
No, no, not at all. As you can tell, long-term listeners of the show will know me and Ryan's skepticism over this event is duly warranted, and yeah,
I mean,
this
you
is
only have to look at the top 10 40-yard dash times in history.
yeah.
How many of them lasted more than 18 months, 2 years in the league? How many of them did anything?
Yeah.
Hardly any of them.
Yeah, and you've got famous examples likes of was it
You've got
Terrell
Dre
Suggs?
Archer, you've got
Yeah,
JJ Ross, guys like that didn't do a bean.
no. And then you've obviously got the famous examples, guys like Terrell Suggs. He had a terrible 40 in his years ago. Dude's going to the Hall of Fame pretty much soon. So yeah, we are skeptical about this. However, the good parts of it, teams get to interview prospects, all that sort of stuff. So it's a lot that goes on this week. And generally at Combine Week as well, this is where GMs start to sort out trades for the draft, and we're hearing the number one pick is up for sale. So there is a lot of interesting stuff going on. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the dates of the combine, what's happening, maybe explain a few of the events and what's on, and then we're going to go through the guys who are going, and we're going to talk about who maybe needs a good combine, what they need to do, etc. Pick a few guys out and go over all that. So we've got that on the agenda, and we're going to go through some news as well. We're going to talk about a few college football articles as well. We don't want to do all draft in the process to this. We are a college football podcast, so we want to do some college football stuff as well. The show is recorded today because we've not been able to sync up with Matt this week. So if you have any questions or anything, still leave them in the comments, leave them in the chat, and we will get round to them in due course. I'll probably watch them while the show goes live as well. Housekeeping, Roar of the Lions UK Discord. If you want in, let us know. We will send you a link for that. Main podcast. It's draft prospect season at the minute. Talked about edges the other day. So if you're not checked that out, please do go and do so because the class is stacked this year. Don't forget to like and subscribe to everything YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. We really appreciate you and all your support. Don't forget about Lions Nation Unite as well. Herman Moore's project to bring together a whole host of Lions content creators into one forum to talk anything and everything Detroit Lions. Don't forget we're monetized. We've got a tip jar, all that stuff. If you want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we just love having you in the building talking football. And we've got the feedback form as well. So any suggestions, queries for the show, just fill that in, let us know. We will take all that on board. Right. Let's get into the news and articles and bits first before we go into the combine and playoffs. We're talking playoffs again, the college football playoffs, because why can't we? It just seems to happen every other week. But as you all know, this was the first year of the 12 team playoff format. Going into 2025 season, it is remaining at a 12 team format. However, in 2026, the new TV rights kick in for the college football playoff format, and change is potentially afoot. So, for those who have not kept up closely with what has gone on in college football land, last year there were intense negotiations about the future of the playoffs and what was going to happen with them in general. And a memorandum was drawn together by all the leagues, etc., to sort of create a leadership hierarchy of what's going to happen with the playoffs for the future years. And as the two most as the two biggest money earning leagues in college football, the SEC and the Big Ten have basically been given control about what happens when it comes to the college football playoff format. And if any changes are going to be made, if anything is going to be done with that, they are going to be the ones who oversee that change, so long as they take on the concerns of all the other conferences and they listen closely. And there are certain little things they are guided by, but for the most part, the SEC and the Big Ten control the roost here. And we are apparently now within a couple of weeks of hearing about the new format that's going to be released. And basically, the proposals are out there. This is what they think is going to be the new set of proposals going forward. And that is, as has been, pontificated a lot in recent years, that the college football playoffs are going to increase to 14 or 16 teams, and the breakdowns of those teams has, and the conferences and automatic bids and all that sort of stuff has been released as well. So obviously for this year, you had four seeded teams, obviously 1 through 4 were your automatic qualifiers. Whoever was ranked by the playoff committee got those, and then you had your highest ranked group of 5 conference winner as well. So you had 5, qualifying bids, and then you had 7 at-large bids. That is going to completely change. So under the new format, depending on 14 or 16 teams, this stays the same. Again, with the Big Ten and the SEC in charge of this. So the new system will be 4 teams automatically qualify from the SEC, the top 4 ranked teams there. The top 4 teams qualify automatically ranked from the Big Ten. And then 2 teams from the Big 12 and the ACC, the top two, teams out of there get qualifying bids as well to make 12. And then the group of 5, the top division winner out of the group of 5 as of last year's campaign, also gets an automatic bid. So there are 13 automatic bids under this new system. And depending on whether it goes to 14 or 16 teams, you're either going to get one at-large bid or 3 at-large bids. But here's the kicker in this place as well. As there's another player in this we've not mentioned that's not conference league based, but Notre Dame, one of the big football powerhouses, still an independent. They've needed some placating in this process to make sure they feel like they're not getting left out of this system, obviously, without potentially only been a couple of at-large bids here. The proposal rules that if Notre Dame finish ranked in the top 14 in the country during a season, they will automatically get one of those 3 at-large bids. So if it's a 14-team playoff, you're going to have 13 automatic bids. And if Notre Dame finish in the top 14, that's your 14th. There will be no at-large bids at all. If it's a 16-team playoff, then Notre Dame will get one of those, and there will be 2 at-large bids decided by the committee, which will probably go to the strongest 2 teams not involved in any of the automatic procedures there. I'm hoping I've laid that out very clear and concisely and, as neat as I possibly can do. Right. What do you make of this potential new set of players? So this is probably what it is going to be if they are as we expect they're going to be confirmed in the next 2 weeks. 4 for the SEC, 4 for the Big Ten, 2 for the Big 12, 2 for the ACC, one group of 5 champion, and 1 or 3 other teams, which include Notre Dame if they're in the top 14.
Well, I suppose money makes the world go round. You could, I wouldn't. Sometimes, like I said, there are going to be years where there aren't 4 teams worthy of the SEC making the playoffs. But because they hold such a big piece of the pie, because they generate so much money, so many airs and views on TV, they will get viewed upon favorably. For the likes of Ole Miss and Texas A&M, the likes of them, they'll be. This is their wet dream. They can have bang average 10 win seasons, and there's a good chance they're probably going to get that fourth overall bid without ever even getting a sniff of the title game itself. And then, yeah, you feel for the likes of, no, I don't feel for the ACC because frankly, they wouldn't have deserved two teams this year. But Big 12, they can feel themselves hard done by because that was, with 1 or 2 weeks to go, that was an incredibly competitive conference. And with their, it's just going to get even more, like say, two places. Like say, that's going to be hard. Like look at Texas Tech now, one of the richest teams in college football. Like I said, they've thrown a lot of money about this year. They're probably going to be a powerhouse. And then, like I say, you've still got ASU. You still have, like say, Utah that'll probably bounce back. You've got Colorado. You've got BYU. You've got all them teams scrambling for two spots. Like I say, it's going to be a real dogfight. And then, yeah, it's good to see the group of five got deserved their all bid. Like I say, that they warrant that. Yeah, like I say, Notre Dame. At this point, I think they've probably just given up trying to coerce them to join a conference, and they've just basically said, "You do you. We want to keep you around. So yeah, we'll bend the rules. Like you say, we'll give you special treatment if you are one of them top teams. There just doesn't feel like there's any real incentive for them to join a conference anymore. They can just stay independent. But yeah, it's very top heavy. It's who I expect to hold all the cards and make the decisions and on the on the balance of things. Yeah, SEC bias, Big Ten, but if they're the biggest markets, then I suppose is it only fair they get the biggest pieces of the pie?
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because as we've kind of seen, if you have a bad year in the SEC, a bad year in the Big Ten, you're going to get some decidedly bang average teams going in. And again, yeah, the Big 12 has been so competitive; they probably deserve three in there this year, And the ACC might get back to its former powers again. I feel like it should be decided during the season. Like you can clearly see which conferences are better, and depending on strength of schedule or whatever, you should be able to do it in season. But yeah, I'm not uber a fan of it. I don't want the playoffs to get too big. I think we saw this year that maybe they were already a bit too big. They were a bit too uncompetitive. I mean, it'll be good for teams who don't usually get in. The only way you can become a better playoff team is to gain playoff experience, but maybe it's going to be rough to start with. If anyone's wondering about buys as well with these, in the 14 team scenario, the teams ranked first and second would get buys. In the 16 team scenario, nobody would get a bye. Obviously, you can't do that. You can't take two teams out and then have 14 play. So there's pitfalls and highs and lows to them both. But yeah, that is basically that's going to come out in a few weeks now. We're going to find out what this is going to be. So those are the proposals, and we'll wait and see. But yeah, enjoy the 12 team playoff when you can, because you're only going to get another year of it, and then it is history finito done. Let us move it on. And one of the things we never really do too much around here, when it comes to all this, we never sometimes just get some of these news articles about college football and discuss them. And with it being draft season at the moment, we want to try and keep a bit of college ball in as well. So there's a few news bits going around that I wanted to discuss today, and just get some thoughts on it before we drive down into the draft stuff again. First is an article done by USA Today, and it lists the six college football coaches with the best chances of winning their first national title. And the six guys they have in there, they reckon, who might be on the cusp of their first natty: James Franklin from Penn State, Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, Kalen DeBoer from Alabama, Brian Kelly at number three from LSU, Dan Lanning at Oregon at number two, and Steve Sarkisian at number one from Texas. Some big names in there, who you would have, if you'd not have known, you thought might would have one already. But what do you reckon about this? Six guys who've never won a natty before. Do you reckon any of them are on the verge of winning a natty?
Well, Well, it's not a very imaginative list, is it? It's basically just
No.
all this year's playoffs. I mean, I suppose for me, the only outlier is Brian Kelly. I've never doubted how talented LSU is, but I've also never been charmed or hoodwinked or had the hood pulled over my eyes that they're an incredibly underachieving franchise. Since break, like I say, since Burrow's left, they've been massively disappointing with a wealth of riches, a wealth of experience of a coach that is Marmite. I suppose that's fair to say about Brian Kelly. A lot of people love him, you hate him. Yeah, is he the man to take him to a national title? No, I don't think he is. Like you say, no. Like you say, I mean, the four SEC teams, frankly, feels like you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's probably a great way for them to make the playoffs because they
Mm.
didn't really get close this year. I've seen they've gone heavy in the pot, like say, special receivers and weapons last year. Next year, if they don't make the playoffs, Brian Kelly won't even be there. I'd imagine you'd have to fire him if they don't make the playoffs this year, with the wealth of riches coming back and also how hard they've hit the portal at key positions. I can make a strong case for the rest. Like say, Sarkeesian got close. Like say, had a lot of talent. Like say, I don't know. It feels like he's under a lot of pressure, but I think that's probably Arch Manning that's under more pressure than Steve Sarkeesian. Dan Lanning, yeah, I suppose you could look at him as an overachiever. That's Oregon, great team, a lot of good players, game managerish quarterback. Like I say, they had an absolute stellar year. A lot of stuff went their way though as well, and their schedule it did offer up some games that weren't overly competitive at times. Yeah, but the biggest name, I suppose, is Marcus Freeman. Like
Yeah.
I say, he had an absolutely stellar year. He turned it around, got to a national title. Like I say, now he's raised the bar. They've got some expectation now in down South Bend, but he's also now got a blood in a new quarterback. He's gonna have a QB battle to win the job, so it's gonna be really hard for them. And like I say, a lot of talent staying behind, but a lot of it, like say, like guys like Kaiser, like I say, they're departing. So some of their stalwarts won't be there anymore. Like say, Watts, Morrison, big job to replace a lot of guys at key positions. So yeah, it'll be some effort if Notre Dame get back to the college football playoff championship with who they've lost.
And I mean, you look at these six, a lot of them are having to replace the quarterback. Sarkisian, obviously Sark's using Arch, and Arch has played a little bit, but still, it's a new
We've not
thing
seen all
starting.
really of him. I haven't
No,
seen anything so far that tells me he's the
no,
star that everyone makes out he is.
not as of a starter there. Dan Lanning, I mean, what, Dante Moore's going to be the starter there
But like
now,
I say,
potentially.
he's been very underwhelming since he's any college football.
Yeah, so you've got him coming in there. Obviously, Brian Kelly's got Garrett Nussmeier coming back. Kalen DeBoer, I mean, all the rage in spring is that five-star Keelan Russell, the true freshman's going to start for them this year, which would be a massive thing. But that is potentially Bama going in with a true freshman quarterback. You got Marcus Freeman, he's going to need a new quarterback. And I don't even know, is it CJ Carr they're going to give the job
I
to
think
now?
I think he might currently be on paper as penciled in as the guy. Yeah,
They've not bought a transfer into my knowledge,
no, they've
have
not. I
they?
think they're
Not
just
like,
letting their current QBs battle it out.
and CJ Carr has played a little bit for them, if I remember. Not much, but he's played a tiny little bit for them. But I do like him. He's huge, isn't he? He's like the six. Is he the 6'6" guy? I
I
think
think
he's
he's big.
quite big,
I think
isn't
he's a
he?
big kid.
He's a big kid, but look forward to seeing him. And then James Franklin at Penn State. Oh, he gets Drew Aller back. So there's only two
Yeah.
starters out of
I suppose
those.
Aller and Nussmeier instantly give you an edge because you know
Mm,
what you're getting. Not to
yeah.
mention Penn State are fortunate as well to get their running backs back.
Yeah, they've got a lot of talent back this year, so you figure he might be in, but
Yeah.
got to
This
break
feels
down
like
the
a
Ohio
big
State,
year, James
Michigan.
Franklin. A
It does.
massive year.
It does.
Like I say, Quinn Ewers is gone. Will Howard is gone. Dylan Gabriel's gone. Like I say, oh, you're going to have a true freshman starter up in Michigan. This has
Oh
got to be
yeah,
Penn State's
potentially.
year,
Yeah.
hasn't it? It's got to be his year because he's returning the most talent. They feel the most stable of everyone we've just named.
And that Ohio State defense is gutted,
Yeah, DC's gone.
gutted. Yeah. One name that's not on there. No Lane Kiffin. Gotta figure that, and he's losing a ton of talent this year.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he's
it could
losing
be a rough year for Ole Miss.
that entire front four's gone. So you've got Ivy has gone,
Ivy, Walton,
Nolan,
Nolan, Human Malin,
Pegues, Uman Malin,
all
uh,
gone.
all gone. Quarterback gone. Trey Harris
Trey Harris gone.
gone. Um,
Trey Amos, the star corner gone.
Trey Amos gone. Yeah, and it's got to
Chris
the point
Paul,
where
the starting linebacker.
gone.
They're rinsed.
Mm,
I saw their backup quarterback last year, Austin something. Looked really, really good, but yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it.
no, that is going to be
This is
incredibly.
going to be the sternest test of Kiffin's credentials so far. If he can,
Mm,
he's going to have to find instant replacement for all those guys.
and I don't feel like I've not seen their portal activity. I don't feel like it's been that. Like it's not like
I
last
hadn't seen him
year.
go hard for a receiver, despite you, like say they lost Juice Wells.
Yeah.
Like say they lost Trey Harris. I've not
Mm.
seen him go hard at that position.
Like last year, they bought in Nolan, they bought in Uman Mailer, they bought in a ton of guys
I
last
think
year.
maybe that cost a lot of money
And
and it failed.
maybe the collective has been a little purse string heavy with them this
I
year.
might have been hesitant to put my hands back in my pocket this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that is potentially six of the top guys to win their first natty. Interestingly, there's only three active head coaches now in college football with a natty win, Ryan. I mean, it is a low ball, but I'm sure you could name the three of them that are in there that have got a natty win.
Kirby Smart,
Yep,
Ryan Day.
yep. The other one's a legacy. I believe
Uh,
in God. No, in fact, that's a lot of them, but ACC powerhouse?
Dabo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Only three active head coaches right now in college football with a natty win. Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, and Dabo Swinney. So, I mean, there's potentially a lot of first-time winners out there. Head coach, I don't know, are there any dark horses you reckon you could see getting it? Like outside of that, you're thinking, obviously your Michigans, your would use your Florida States, no, or maybe. I mean, maybe a very, very young head coach out of the Big 12, who knows?
Uh, Heupel. No, I said
Oh, he said
Heupel.
Tennessee now.
Tennessee. He's
Maybe.
like say Nico might make a big jump this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
potentially.
they're losing a ton of talent as well, loads of positions.
Yeah, they
It
are.
feels like it's now or never for him, really.
Running back, edge, center. Yeah, quite a lot. So I don't know. Anyhow, we'll see. It'll be a little interesting just to see that there in terms of maybe the next guys up for a natty win. The odds are up for in fact, we could probably tie this in here, but the odds are out for the potential college football championship winners next year. Obviously, there's still a lot of training camp and everything to go, but for the most part, the rosters are set in now, and the top five to win it next year. Ohio State are favourites at plus 500, Texas just behind at plus 550, Georgia are at plus 650, Oregon at plus 750, and then Penn State at plus 900. They're the five clear favourites. Behind them, you've got Notre Dame, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, Clemson, Michigan, and then Ole Miss in that order. I mean, what do you think, Ryan? Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State, top five. Is there anyone who doesn't deserve to be there? Anyone you'd be a bit skeptical about? Anyone you'd move up? Anyone not involved in that conversation who should be involved in that conversation?
Uh, you can remove Georgia straight away. I just gonna Stockton. Right, I like him. He just doesn't give me that bloodline. Do you know what I mean? He just doesn't feel like the next guy. I suppose I don't know. Like say, Keelan Russell and Ty Simpson, who's like one of like the hottest ever like college kid recruited. Like the Balmer quarterback situation is fascinating. Ty Simpson, Keelan Russell, two of the like say the most prominent kids in recent years. one of them will win the job. But like I say, they're also losing just tons of talent. So I feel like Dabo bounces back in a big way this year. It feels like it's hard to keep him down.
Yeah, they're the top ranked team out the ACC. There's no one above them
And K
currently.
Klubnik showed flashes last year of being the Heisman winner. Just lack consistency, big games. But I say if you can put it all together this year, K Klubnik as a Heisman winner, it's very much in play.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm so with you. I think Clemson might be up there. I'm not so sure about Georgia either. Oregon, it depends on the quarterback at
Yeah,
fourth.
it's
I
all on
don't
Dante
think,
Moore. Like I say, big 5-star reputation.
yeah, and it's not delivered so far. So it's a bit, I'm not sure.
ASU's returning everybody, but I can't put them there yet
No, no, no,
because the Big
absolutely.
12 for me will be a lot better than it was last year.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be tough, but speaking of ASU, they are bringing someone very good back, and that just leads me to just doing one positional group here, but just looking at some of the best receivers coming back in college football next year. These have been ranked by PFF coming back, and there's an honorable mention actually to Malachi Fields. I didn't know he's gone to Notre Dame. Don't know if you knew that, the Virginia receiver.
I
But
didn't see them.
no, Malachi Fields is now at Notre Dame, so that might be
They
interesting
need
to see
that.
how
Someone
he
needs to take the
does.
pressure off Jaden Greathouse.
It does. Those two could be good, but by PFF, they're top 10 for this year coming back. You've got Eugene Wilson the third at Florida at 10, Mackay Lemon at USC at 9, Kevin Conception, the former NC State Wolfpack guy, now at TAMU. He's at number 8. Number 7, you've got Bryant Wesco Jr. of Clemson. Obviously, he had a fantastic sophomore year. Oh, sorry, he was a freshman last year.
Yeah,
My bad.
freshman.
Number 6, you've got Cam Coleman at Auburn, also a freshman as of last year, and somehow still there. I don't know how they've kept him. But number 5 is his new playmate for next year. Eric Singleton Jr., the Georgia Tech wide receiver, comes in at number 5. At number 4, you've got Elijah Sarrett from Indiana, who was amazing last year. He was one of the James Madison Dukes who followed Kurt Signetti to Indiana. And then the top 3 returning wide receivers in the nation. At number 3, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Number 2, Ryan Williams from Alabama. And number 1, of course, it is Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. I mean, your boy's getting a lot of love behind two of the biggest freshman phenoms in recent years. Now you've got Jordan Tyson there at number 3, Ryan. He has universally been acknowledged by everybody, and most critically, they've kept him, which is huge for the program.
Yeah, because if you go back 2 or 3 years ago, he'd have definitely hit the pole. If this was under Herm Edwards, he was gone.
Hmm.
I'd say, but yeah, absolutely. I think how how sad his season ended was, like say that season-ending injury before the playoffs, and then knowing that he was out, if they'd have had him in that playoff game against Texas, and given that outlet and that deep threat, I reckon they would have been far more competitive in the playoffs if they had Tyson. He was by far their go-to option. Had a fantastic year. Like I say, he's going into a huge year for draft stock. NIL valuation as well has crept up. Like I say, he's worth a decent amount of money now. Like I say, he's made a big name for himself. Like I say, he feels comfortable. He was very quick to say he was returning. And yeah, he's got a big chance to prove himself next year. Like I said, the two names before him are the two most prominent household names in football, the two phenoms. Like I say, he's gonna hit the draft before them. Like I say, he's looking at that 2026, 2027. Like I say, he wants to be a first round pick. And if you go off of last year, he's shown that he has got all the tools, the size, the skill, the speed, everything to be a first round wide receiver in the draft. So this year as well, he's now second year with Sam Levitt. Like I say, they should do big things together this year. Providing both stay healthy, them two should have a monster year together.
Absolutely. And like I say, getting the recognition behind two of the most recognizable names in football is there, but a very intriguing situation here at Auburn. So we all thought Cam Coleman was a goner, like he was not going to stay there. But not only do they keep him, they bring in Eric Singleton, and you look at their quarterback situation. Jackson Arnold has obviously transferred in, but you've got the big five-star recruit they had, Deuce Knight, who's there, who's coming this year. He's going to be a true freshman as well, and you think this is if you're going to look for maybe dark horses, specifically maybe a Heisman dark horse on there or a good offense, because Auburn's quarterback is what's held them back for the years. Peyton Thorne is gone now. This seems a very intriguing proposition for this year, having two superstar receivers on this team now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Eric Singleton does for them.
Yeah, big gap. Eric Singleton had his pick of schools. He had like 20, 25 Power Four offers. Like I say, he could have gone anywhere he wanted. And yeah, obviously you can earn a decent amount of money. You can make a big name for yourself in the ILC in Auburn, big school. And I agree with you that a team that has had incredible amounts of talent walk through its doors in recent years, but the likes of Robbie Ashford, Peyton Thorne, all the other blech, quarterbacks they've managed to put up over recent years have continually held them back. They wasted Jaquez Hunter, who's now going to the draft, a stellar running back. They just had Keandre Lambert Smith.
Yeah.
I say he's going to the draft. And that tells me that tells wide receivers, wait, I can come here. We don't have to win many games, but I can still be a draftable prospect. Like I say,
Yep.
it's not all about wins and losses here. And yeah, like you say, Jackson Arnold, small sample size last year, showed some flashes. Shock portal entry, big pickup. Like I say, on paper, probably the starter, but then you get a total, like I say, freshman phenom unknown, like I say, that's coming, he's willing to battle him. Yeah, like I say, maybe Auburn are a dark horse for double digit wins. I mean, it feels like we say that every year. The Tigers have got to get good again. I can't keep watching clips of the Iron Bowl kick six. Like I say, it's my favorite play in college football history, but there's not been a lot to cheer about since then, has there?
No.
I say, and at some point, it's going to have to change because it feels like they've been in the shadows of the A&Ms, the Ole Misses, the LSUs. Like I say, that those teams like that right now, like I say, they're just clawing. Like I say, right now, it feels like they're competing with like the likes of Vanderbilt right now. Like I say, that are looking like say that are kind of getting their shit together. It's time for you to pull your socks up and you to get your stuff together as well.
Yeah, it's time for Auburn to do well. It's like the defenses traditionally do okay. They're under gun a lot of the
Send corners to the
time.
draft. They do really
Yeah.
well in the secondary. Like I say,
Yeah.
they send a lot. So yeah, at some point it's got to click.
Yeah, absolutely. And they say they've got a couple of great weapons there. And then other speaking of weapons, we talk about all these guys. Bryant Wesco's on here, and you've got at Clemson next year, Bryant Wesco, Antonio Williams, TJ Moore. Like you talk about again, if you talk about Cade Klubnik getting a Heisman, he's got one of maybe the best trios in all of football there next year. But Bryant Wesco is just another true freshman phenom. There's so many of them now. Like just these receivers don't seem to take any time to adjust to college football, does they? This stuff's easy.
Yeah, it feels like for wide receiver these days, it's a flawless transition. Like I say, no matter how complicated or how big what 5A, 6A, whatever like level they played high school football at, and there are vast gaps in high school football. You can play it in like say Minnesota, or you can play it in Texas or California, and they get you NFL ready. If you're coming out of the likes of like say North Shore, like you say, like the Lake schools, or if you're coming out like say a Matadero or John Bosco, yeah, you're ready. Like I say, you're already playing at a college level. But I say some of these kids, they just aren't. They come from tiny fields, like I say. But yeah, a lot of these kids, and because of the likes of Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith, no one talked about Wesco. Also, Clemson, people weren't talking about them because they weren't fancy, but he did an absolutely fantastic job. And a team that felt one dimensional because Mather was, plugging away, big, heavy, like you say, a bit a strong, a muscle, short yardage back, like you say. They weren't the dynamic rushing team they've been in many years. They were a pass first offense. So yeah, yeah. I'm going to put some money on Cade Klubnik to win the Heisman. Like I say, it's one of those awards. It don't matter if they win games. If he goes out there and throws for 5,000 yards, like I say, 35 touchdowns, which I think he could do even on a 9-win team, like I say, then yeah, he'll probably have a good chance to make it to New York.
No, absolutely. He could be there. I don't. It's very, very early, but out of the three freshman phenoms, Ryan, Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, Bryant Wesco, who do you see having the best sophomore year? Because again, I mean, is it Air Noland
Going to be the
coming in?
quarterback
It's
situation, isn't it? Yeah.
is it Air Noland coming in at Ohio State now? I believe. Is it? They're moving over to New. I swear it's Air Noland coming there this year. Ryan Williams obviously going to be potentially taking passes from Keelan, the true freshman. Bryant Wesco's in the best situation, but I mean they're all three superstar studs. I mean, I guess one of them can still. The Ohio State, they load up every year regardless. I don't know. Can you see? Because I think it was this year, Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Bryant Wesco in terms of the yardage they got. They all got about 800 plus yards this year. Can Bryant overcome them both this year in year two?
Uh, it's hard, like you say, because though Ohio State, it's Julian saying, isn't it?
Oh, it's Julian saying that's it. Sorry, Air Noland is the
He,
comet this
yeah, he's
year
supposed to be, like
with,
you say,
yeah, he'll
this.
be the
Well,
next
I've
guy.
seen the words, generational, which gets thrown about all the time. But if you're
Yeah.
going for straight off the guy, a system that you know all about, you take the guy that's with Cade. Like I say, if any one of the quarterbacks, like you say, is gonna step up, it could be Satan. Like you say, he could be, like you say, the next big thing in college football. So
He's meant to
yeah,
be.
I'd lean on the side of Wesco for now until
Mm.
the other start. Like I said, when I know the starters are going to be the other teams, then yeah, like I said, I may change my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. But their class is going to be insane because they're all going to declare early. They're all going to get drafted really high. Like none of them sees their senior year right. They're all going to declare as juniors. Underclassmen, get in, get done, get paid in the NFL. That's the way to do it now if you are a receiver. But yeah, ton of wide receivers coming back next year. That is a great list there. And then the last one I wanted to quickly chat about, um, and this is about coaches on the hot seat for next year. And there's three in the Big Ten specifically under the gun for this year, potentially as hot seats go. Number three is Luke Fickle at Wisconsin. Number two is Mike Loxley at Maryland, who I'm still not sure how he hasn't been fired yet. But number one, Ryan, and it finally seems like it may happen, Lincoln Riley at USC. They finally believe the chickens are going to come home and roost for him, and one more bad year, he is done in terms of Big Ten coaches. Is Lincoln Riley on the hottest seat heading into next year? Do you agree that one more year and or even half a bad year and he's toast?
You can make a strong case for all the names. I mean, Wisconsin, they weren't good before Fickle got there, and I love Fickle,
Feels
but
like
they
he's
feel
not
like
been
they've
there
regressed.
long,
It feels
but
like they have regressed massively.
it feels like he's not been there long. But I reckon what he must be.
I think he's
It
been
was the
there.
year they got to
This
the
is his third
playoffs.
year, maybe.
I was about to say it was the year he left the year after Cincinnati got to the playoffs. No, which
I
was
believe he did. Yeah,
2021. So yes, he'd be 3 years. That's crazy. That's gone quick.
yeah. Wisconsin, they have not made any noise whatsoever.
No,
And like, don't get me wrong, they've not had the. I mean, they don't have the quarterback.
I
Like I say,
mean,
honestly, I used to shit on Graham Mertz, but bloody hell, they looked a lot worse after he left.
I thought Tyler Van Dyke could do it for them.
Yeah, like you say, Tyler Van Dyke, the curious case of TV, dear. Like I say, what a name he made for himself when he entered college football, but the guy is plummeted. Like you say, and it just didn't work out. Not to mention, like I say, the amount of Chaz Malasse, like I say, they wasted a generational running back. Like I say,
Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen, like I say, they've had so much talent go through there. Like, yeah, I think Luke Fickle, very warm seat. It feels like I don't think anyone can win there right now, but that's not the case for not getting rid of him. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, the Trojans, I mean, when you plug time and time again, you get the best recruits. You put a load of money in. Like say the fans as well, probably put thousands of pounds in season tickets, funds, and yeah, you just get underwhelming play. You're not competitive. Yeah, they almost looked a bit big for the bridges. Like they thought they were going to rock up to the Big Ten and like say kick some ass. Didn't pan out like that all, did it? Like I
No.
say, if you're on both sides of the on both coasts and you disappoint on both in two different conferences, yeah, I think it's time to go. This year, I expect it to be the last, unless they make a serious case for a Big Ten championship. And
Mm.
spoiler, they're not going to.
Is that what you reckon it takes for him to keep his job then? What do you reckon is the threshold for him to keep his job? Because I think
I
you have
think.
to.
Eh,
I think not winning the Big Ten. I mean,
I
is it?
mean, I mean, knowing teams like saying how well, just how not happy they are to pull the trigger. I reckon 10 wins probably somehow keeps his job.
Really?
Yeah,
I reckon you'd have to make a championship game.
I think the bar in USC is quite low now. I think their standards have dropped.
Well, he's been 8-5 and 7-6, I believe, which
Yeah, I
is
think he needs
like it's not.
double-digit wins or I get rid of him.
Hmm,
10-2
it's
wouldn't be bad, but it would be a damn sight better than we've seen in recent years. But that's a huge ask because they've
um
not looked like a team anywhere near 10-2 in recent years.
no, I mean you still carrying Jordan Maeva over, and he did win the job towards the end of last year. I mean, what's your schedule? Your road schedule in the Big Ten is Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska, and Oregon. Your home schedule is UCLA, Iowa, Northwestern, Michigan, and Michigan State. I mean, that seems
I
like
mean, your
you've
home
got
schedule's better than your away one.
you've got no Ohio State, you've got no Penn State, you've got Michigan at home. Only bad one, you've got Oregon on the road, but I mean that to me that does seem like if you don't win 10 with that schedule, you are
Yeah,
sure as hell not keeping your job.
there's a lot of teams like they say, like I said, there's some frauds on there, like Nebraska.
Mm,
I know Nebraska will probably somehow, because of Raiola, will get a lot of hype this year.
mm,
And they'll fall flat on their faces. Like I said, last year they started off hot. They realized after about 4 or 5 weeks, oh, we're kind of good at this football thing. And then it was a car crash to end the
mm.
year. And Raiola, the second half of the year, was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I think they need a good season. I think Matt Rule needs a good year.
yeah. Oh God, yeah, they do. I don't know if
I'm
he's in
going to call
trouble
it
with.
now. The surprise of the Big Ten, I think, will be the Spartans.
I mean,
I can. I saw
yeah.
last year things like clicking some connections starting to click late in the year. Yeah, I think if they start the year well this year, I think they could have a sneaky good year.
They've kept most of their players.
Yep.
They got that top. They got the top tackle commit of the entire portal out of the FCS. I can't remember his name, but they got a new left tackle to protect the quarterback. They're bringing a lot of talent
Got
back.
weapons. Yeah.
They got Nick Marsh.
No
Is it? Nick Marsh
excuses
wasn't
really
even
this
on
year.
that. Nick Marsh wasn't even on that list of great receivers coming back next
Nope.
year. And another
Should have
true
been.
freshman. Yeah, another true freshman who had a
Kyle
standout year.
showed some high level play with some a lot of mistakes, but he showed like say he's capable of high level, high standard.
Oh yeah, he looked like a first year. He looked like
Yeah.
a first year starter.
Yeah.
So
I'd
yeah.
expect to see them better this year.
Oh, I like that. Michigan State, I'm gonna go. But yeah, certainly Luke Fickle. Loxley, I don't know how Loxley is there at Maryland. I expect him to be one of the first chops next year if they start off poor. He might be gone by week 3 or 4, and then yeah, Lincoln Riley is going to struggle potentially. Anywho, we will leave that there, and I'll do that more in future. Quite fun. But let's move on to the main thing we're here about today, and of course, that is the NFL Combine, and I'm sure everybody knows what it is at this point, but this is the week-long process where 330 prospects go to Indianapolis to take part in a wide variety of mental, physical, and all sorts of tests they're put through. It's one of the most rigorous examinations they will get on the way to the NFL draft. And of course, the last stop on the path to the draft after this is your pro day, where you do pretty much exactly the same thing, except you get to do it in home comforts at your own stadium as opposed to potentially on the other side of the country in Indy. But yeah, this happens over a week. So this year it goes on from Sunday, February 23rd, which is this upcoming Sunday, and goes on till Monday, March the 3rd, when the last players go home. So just a quick rundown of the schedule for it all. So the groups are divided into four. You've got the defensive linemen, linebackers, and place kickers as the first group. Then you've got your DBs and your tight ends as group two. Then you've got your running backs, quarterbacks, and wide receivers as your third group. And then your fourth group are your offensive linemen. So they're all staggered as to how it's done. First group, the D linemen, the linebackers arrive on the Sunday, the DBs and tight ends on the Monday, the running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers on the Tuesday, and finally the offensive linemen come in on the Wednesday and staggered days. So your first day after your arrival, you do your registration, you do pre-exams, you do orientation, then you do your team interviews. Obviously, you spread your team interviews throughout the week. So you got 3 days worth of team interviews. Teams are allowed to talk to, what is it, 50 prospects, I think the list is at that
Yeah,
you're
top
allowed
50 visit,
to,
yeah.
yeah, you're allowed 50. And you've
Oh,
got
wait, is
to
it
schedule
30?
those. Oh, it's top 30, isn't it? It
Top
might be
30
30.
visits, aren't they? Yeah.
Top 30. You get to do that. So you do your interviews over 3 days. Your third day there, you do like your author exams, your media interviews. You do a meeting with the NFLPA, the Players Association, basically getting you ready for the transition up to the NFL, and then you'll do some more team interviews. On your fourth day, you do your measurements and your on-field workouts. That's the stuff that gets televised. So you'll go get your wingspan done, your height, your weight, and this is the fun part, isn't it, Ryan? Where you find out which schools lie about height and weight, etc., and which schools don't. They're quite often commonplace where an athlete might be 3 inches shorter than he's advertised at, which can mean a lot. But yeah, you do your on-field workouts there, and then your last day, you do your bench press, you do your broadcast interviews, so telling everyone about how it's gone and that, and then you're done. And that's all spread out. So in terms of the on-field workouts that you'll want to watch, D-line and linebackers are on Thursday. Defensive backs and tight ends are on Friday. Running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers are on the Saturday, and then the offensive linemen are on Sunday. And just a few examples of the things you will do in your measurements and everything. So obviously you got stuff like the 40-yard dash, the bench press, the three cone, you've got 20-yard shuttle, you've got vertical jumps, you've got broad jumps. So your 40-yard dash, obviously the most popular thing in there. I mean, it's to determine your straight line speed in the NFL, and particularly here, Ryan, you're looking at safeties, wide receivers, guys like this. Obviously, it's not the be all and end all, but if you are looking for guys in this, don't look at your offensive linemen or anything like that. But for your 40-yard dash, it's kind of your wide receivers, your safeties, your corners.
Yeah. it's your Yeah, it's the lighter guys. Like say your linebackers, your safeties, you want to know how fast they are in a straight line coming downhill. Wide receivers, you need to know once they've got the ball in their hands, how fast are they? Can they outrun a defense? The running backs, obviously the smaller running backs, they want a good 40, like I say, because they lack the weight and the muscle. So, yeah. A lot of positions, as you mentioned, don't matter. I couldn't give a hoot how fast an offensive lineman is. It really doesn't matter when they're all padded up.
Mm.
There's a
And
lot of positions, like I say, I suppose tight ends these days probably factor the 40 more as well. Like say, if you're like got like an elite speed as a tight end these days, like you're probably going to be drafted a lot higher than a bulky tight end. A lot of these have positional value, but yeah, for me, the 40-yard dash is by far the most overrated. You can be as slow as you like if you're good at everything else. I don't care how fast you are.
yeah, exactly. So your bench press you've got in there as well. That is basically this is a test of your functional upper body strength. You lift a 225-pound barbell as many times as you can before, having to take a rest there. And in terms of guys you look for with this, right, you more look for this is where you look maybe for your linemen, your tight ends potentially as well. This is a test of sort of how strong you are and how much weight you can get behind us, especially as you're trying to push up you're pushing into scrum. Again, it's not always indicative, but you do really want to do well in this if you're a big guy because you do need your upper body strength in the NFL.
Yeah. This drill, as you say, tight ends, offensive linemen, and any position on the defensive line. For me, they're the only ones I watch. It's all about can you shed a block? Can you sustain a block? And all of that comes from can you extend and apply pressure and force from the shoulders to the elbows out? Like I say, how strong are your forearms?
Yeah, exactly. It is. You've got your three cone in there as well. The three cone is becoming a lot more valuable as a thing here. So, the drill is simple. Basically, you're running a straight line between the first cone and the second cone. Then you loop around the second cone and the third cone as quick as you can and get back to your starting point. Obviously, the famous example a couple of years ago was when Quitty Pay did his. But I mean, here you're looking to see how quick players can change directions, the acceleration in and out of the break, the bend as well while going around there. This is quite actually a well-rounded drill, so your edge rushers will benefit from this. You need to get around tackles quickly, you need to be able to bend deep, and then obviously you're looking for your DBs as well, your safeties, right, your corners, how quickly they can change direction, and their hips, how good they are. This for me. I feel like this is one of the better indicators where you can see these guys and really just how flexible they are when it comes to how tight they can do all these cuts and everything.
For me, it is the most important drill of combine. And I think all positions apart from the quarterback is very important. As you say, it's not about the running in the straight line. It's it's how fast you can flip your hips, and you've got to keep the bend tight. Like I say, you need to run round the cone and stay the cone. Because like I say, as soon as you come out, you've got to accelerate and then go through two cones at the start. If you're one of these guys that runs too wide, like saying you can't get your hand down or you can't then get yourself in a straight line and generate the speed to get through, you'll plummet. Like I say, you've got to be able to keep it tight. Like I say, it's all about angles. Like I say, you're pulling guards, your offensive lineman at next level, like you say, from a standing start, can they change direction quickly? Edge rushers, obviously, it's the most important ultimately. Yeah. Can you go all the way around the outside of a tackle and then come back underneath to get to the quarterback? Because if they're going to push around, yeah. If you're like, say, if you turn like an 18 wheeler and you need 5 steps to turn the corner, you won't make it in the NFL. You've got to be able to shed at least one of those steps out while being able to go around the corner. So, yeah, it's huge for them. Like, say, your linebackers in coverage, like, say, picking up tight ends, either going left, right, you're going to have to flip your hips like DBs. Like, say, if you're backpedaling and then you're going that way, you've got to flip your hips. Like I said, that means you've got a plant, step, and you've got to keep it tight so you don't lose your balance here. This drill is big for a lot of people. Like I say, and we saw guys, like I say, some linemen, like I say, have done absolutely stellar three cones. Like I say, it can do a lot for your draft stock.
Yeah, absolutely, it can. Then we got the 20
Ricky
yard
Pearsall,
Ricky
his three
Pearsall
cone
with.
last year, I think that's probably one of the reasons he made the first round. He was
Mm.
top 5 in I think all positions.
Yeah, absolutely. You're saying that it counts for receivers. If you want to cut out quickly, you've got to have that bend to be able to do so, get that separation. It's good. It tests a lot of guys and a lot of,
Yeah, a lot of guys you can tell don't
it's quite
practice
you.
it.
Yeah, it's
You
quite
should be practicing
universal.
this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a universal thing for a lot of the players. Next, you've got the 20-yard shuttle as well. So for those who don't know, the 20-yard, I actually quite like this as well. So basically, you run forward 5 yards to a cone, you turn around, you run 10 yards in the other direction to another cone, then you turn around and you run 5 yards back to where you started. Again, and so this is, it doesn't take too long to run. You're sort of in the 4 second range for this, but this is a test of agility and explosiveness. And you're looking here, right, specifically for defensive players when you don't have much time to make plays in the NFL, you need to be able to react quickly. Like if you're going up to stop against the run and it's a fake, and then you've got to drop back into coverage and get to where you are, and then the ball gets thrown short of you, and you've got to run forward and make the tackle again really quickly. The shuttle here, it's who can effectively do that, who change of direction, short area speed. This is where you get your linebackers, your cornerbacks, and these coverage guys, which is real important. I feel like this is another one that does actually have a lot of importance in the NFL as well. Just as I say, that ability to read, react quickly is becoming ever more important. And, for me, means this is quite an important drill as well.
Yeah. And this drill tells you a lot about their body type because you've got to stay low. They tell you you've got to squat, you've got to sink your ass. Because in the NFL, the lowest man always wins. You can't do this drill up high because you've got to reach down low, touch the cone. You can't be on top of the cone. You've got to reach out and get it before you can turn around. You've got to make this as short as you can. So having a big wingspan here as well helps. Having long arms gets a coach. But like I said, the fact is you need to stop on a dime and then go back where you came from like a crab. So you've got to be low and explosive. Yeah, linebackers. Like I said, on a reverse when the whole defense flows one way and then the ball is pitched, you've got to haul ass, get the other side. Like saying you're chasing on the backside of the player then. So yeah, for your defensive lineman, your defense in general, this is massive. Your offensive linemen, unless they're pulling guards, but even then they're usually facing front ways. They're never really like say crawling or scraping across sideways.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, a very important indicator there for some of the guys who potentially have, as I say, their ability to read and react. So you're looking at your defenders there, and then obviously one of the other big ones you've got is your vertical jump. So this is specifically in regards to sort of like your receivers, your corners, your tight ends, and there's one reason for this solely and only who can get up and fight for contested catches? Just how much of a span do you have? Can you get that extra inch that either tips a ball in there for you to pick or gets you to to moss a poor DB there? Now, obviously, it's all reacted to the player's height, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the tallest. You can be the smallest and you can still have a good vert, and it shows you a lot there. But this is all about your lower body strength, your explosiveness. I mean, it can be a good test for running backs as well. If you can, because it's all about the power in your lower legs being able to jump up in the air. So it shows, if you've got a good pair of quads on you as well. And sometimes even for the offensive lineman, if again, you've got to have a quick get off, you've got to have strong lower legs. But yeah, the vert, primarily, you're looking for your playmakers there, under. This is where the interceptions or the great catches happen, and teams will look closely at this.
Yeah, this is a big one because it says a lot about a guy because it's a standing start. It's all about could you go from 0 to 100, like you say, and you've got to coil like a spring. It's all in the knees. It's not how tall you are. It's not how big your feet. It's not how long your arms are. There's guys here that have had incredibly long arms that have got no bounce in their calves. They've got no coil tension in their knees. They just flop. They don't get anything. But then there's guys like I say that can be short with short arms. Like I say, when they bend down and they bounce and they've got explosion, like you say, that they're touching 5, 15, 20 of those markers. And it's massive. Like I say, the guys that need hop, yeah, tight ends, DBs, receivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's the other jump in there. You've got the broad jump as well. And so this is
I don't see
again.
what this does.
So the broad jump it's the purpose, it's to measure lower body strength and explosiveness. So you're basically doing a long jump, but from a start. And this is obviously it's all about flexibility, it's all about balance, and this is for offensive linemen specifically. So here, linemen who can jump far. So this is about your ability to play tackle and guard, because obviously if you're a tackle in the NFL, longer strides backwards to deal with the biggest sort of, to deal with the quickest sort of edge rushers. You've got to be able to get back in stance quickly, and you've got to be able to drop deep to counter their threat. And they do say if you don't have a good broad, they will kick you inside sometimes. It's not the be all and end all, but this primarily an offensive line challenge. I mean, do you think it isn't the best tell for them whatsoever? I can see it in a way, but obviously broad you're going forward. For me, broad is like you're run blocking. You need to get up in a defensive lineman's chest and force him backwards, and that will be the way for it. I think it might be a little more unfair to use it as a pass blocking exercise, but it's what they seem to do.
I suppose this is a test, I think, for more tackles than guards because it's all about your base. If you can hop forward and stay perfectly still, It's all about the anchor, like you say. You don't want any wobble. Wobbles are bad, even if you have a really long jump, because it says to me your center of gravity and your weight's off. If you're going to play left or right tackle, you need a perfect center of balance. Like I say, when they come at you in a bull rush and they, like you say, give you everything in your chest, you've got to be able to absorb it top to bottom. It's got to generate all the pressure straight for your feet. You can't move. You can't rock back, no wobble, because they'll exploit it, like I say. And you get players like Mike Green got the senior ball, the shrine ball, where he destroyed a guy. And it won't because it was a perfect pass rush. It was lack of balance.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is that exact player trying to show it, like you say, that yeah, can you from a standing start, like you say, one hop, yeah, and then can you be steady as a rock and remain balanced when you do so? Because like I say, these guys, they're really heavy, and a lot of them are really bottom heavy. Like I say, it's like a weeble that wobbles. You can't fall down. You've got to be able to rock. You've got to be able to take the blow.
Yeah, absolutely. So your offensive line would be a big, and then also your running backs as
Yeah,
well, because
pass
they
blocking.
need run your running backs, and it's their get off as well. When you're in scrimmage, you're trying to go forward. You've got to measure the lower body strength. So this is a good test for the running backs as well, especially the smaller guys. Want to make sure that you've got that functional lower body strength to make up for your lack of height. So again, potential, but they're the, sort of the main drills they all do, and then obviously you do positional
There's the
drills.
gimmicky
So
ones, like now they throw the
yeah.
ball as hard as you can at a rubber mat.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but
It don't
yeah,
make sense.
yeah,
It doesn't
no,
matter how hard I can throw the ball because I'm
no,
throwing it straight forward.
yeah.
I'm not even throwing it up in the air. There's no. I'm never throwing a ball like that really in real life unless it's a running
It's,
back or a check down.
you're spiking the ball for a touchdown. That's really
Yeah, they're
the
basically
only
throwing
time
it
you're
down,
doing
just
that.
waffle. And then I suppose you've got the gauntlet, which for receivers is big because you've got to. It's all about like say you don't weave.
Yeah,
I've seen people say like, oh, it's all right. No, you stay on the white line. You wait for the ball. You don't get the ball.
yeah, no. So you get your position specific drills. So obviously, like the D lineman will go and club away your inanimate objects and stuff like that. Your receivers, they'll do the gauntlet drills. I do like those, to be fair. They are quite good. They show you concentration as well. You've got to be,
Defense do a lot more work because they get the
yeah,
inflatables, the bags, don't they? All about
yeah, they
hitting the
do.
bag and turning the corner, which to be fair is pretty big.
They do, and then you get a lot of your movement drills and everything. Obviously, again, big for your DBs, etc., and that. But they're all position specific. And then, of course, you've got your measurements. You know, hand size, big for quarterback, your arm span for linemen, etc. But always take those with a pinch of salt because, as we've seen in recent years, a lot of people defy their measurements and they do not define them. So, yeah, that's kind of the drills and everything for the combine there. So let's see who's going to the combine and who. And again, like I say, we are very skeptical about how the combine does and just your overall measurements. But for some guys, it is potentially a good way just to address either size issues. Obviously, you have medicals there as well, so they dispel any injury issues you may have, and there's lots of good stuff that does come out of this. So let's just dive down into the groups to see who's going and just a noticeable one about emissions before this as well. I don't like the combine and the way they've done it this year. Right, they have gone very hard on some of the guys who don't fit the stereotypes here. So Willie Lampkin has not been invited, the 5'10" guard out of UNC. Efton Chisholm's not been invited because he's also a small undersized. They've gone really hard on the smaller guys in the draft this year, which I don't agree with. I feel like the FCS guys should all go because this is who it benefits more, and there's a lot of Power Five guys, guys from Alabama you've never heard of who get to go just because they're from a big school. And I don't just quickly about the invite list. I feel like they need to change the way they do it because a lot of FCS get snubbed out of this, and a lot of Group of Five guys get snubbed out of this who deserve to go. And there's a lot of players who do go who don't deserve to go.
I don't understand in this day and age why don't we have an FCS combine or an
I,
FCS group of five combine? Why don't they just have their own?
I said this. I think there should be.
Because their
Um,
season ends practically if you're not in the national championship, your season ends earlier anyway. Because their
yeah,
playoffs have already started, where
yeah,
we're basically in the end of the regular season in the FBS. So they've got
mm,
more time to have a combine.
yeah. I believe there should. I'm with you. There should
We
be an
could have had
F.
their combine last week.
There should be an FCS and a Group of Five combine, and all the scouts should still be going to
Yeah,
that.
you could
They
still
could
have
do
it
it at
in. You could still
Indy.
have it in Indy.
Yeah, you could do it the week before. Do the Group of Five FCS Combine one week and do the FBS Combine the week after, or the Power Four Combine the week after. Whatever you want to do it,
I
but
mean, you don't have to put it on TV. I'd like to watch it, but I don't care
I
if it's on
would.
TV, but at least do it.
I would. I think it would be absolutely great. And yeah, again, I just there's a lot of guys who don't
Or
go.
yeah, if you're not going to do that, then it's time to start having bids.
Yeah,
Like say where we get, like say, if we've got 329 here, right? 300 of them. Oh no, 29 of them are from the FCS. Yeah. 35, 40, 45, 50 are from the group of five. And then the other 250 can be from the FBS.
yeah, absolutely. Let me just so the guys who got snubbed just potentially just before this, just to kind of show this. So RJ Oben, the Notre Dame edge, he didn't get invited. Chandler Martin, the linebacker out of Memphis, I know he's undersized because I've done stuff on him before, but he's great. 5 seasons as a starter, he's not been allowed to go. Efton Chisholm is not there. Cam Miller's not there. I think that's a massive snub for Cam Miller to not be able to go
Yeah.
as a
When you look at some of the
quarterback.
quarterbacks that are there as well. Oh.
Exactly. This is why I have such an issue with this. But Cam Miller's not been invited. Danny Strigo, the Minnesota Edge, Willie Lampkin mentioned, Rivaldo Fairweather, the Auburn tight end. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt's not been invited. He's undersized for the Arizona running back as well, and he's not had a season. So he kind of deserves this. Jackson Meeks, the Syracuse wide receiver's not there. Carter Runyon, the Towson tight end, is not there. Will Shepherd, the Colorado wide receiver, not there. Johnny Walker, the Mizzou edge, not there. Thomas Perry, the Division Three Middlebury offensive lineman, not there. Aiden Williams, the Minnesota Duluth offensive lineman, not there. Marcus Vare, the Montana State right guard, who's an absolute beast, not there. Jamal Pritchett, the South Alabama wide receiver, not there. I mean, Marcus Veers might be one of the better guards in this draft, Ryan, but he's a small school guy, not gone. These are all guys who would benefit from being able to talk to these teams, have measurements, do drills. These guys are what the combine it was invented for.
I won't mind, but nearly everyone you've named there as well either went to the Shrine Bowl or Senior Bowl,
Yeah,
but they don't go to the combine.
no,
I don't get it. So,
no.
like I say, maybe some of them declined. Like I say, maybe didn't get invites. But if they didn't get an invite, then I don't get
How
why.
how does the Division Three guy not get to go? Like he needs this. He needs
Yeah,
exposure to these teams.
like I say, Cam Miller, like I say, he deserves a chance to like I
That's a
say
huge
compete with. Like I
snub.
say, yeah, he needs
That-
like the measurables, the drills, and all that. Like I say, they're the kind of big things he needs.
Yeah, obviously he gets his pro day and that, but
Yeah.
like,
Like I say, a lot of guys we've just named, some of them don't get pro day. The FCS guys, some of them their schools can't hold a pro day because they don't have any prospects.
no,
You're the only
no,
prospect from your school. You don't get a pro day. You've got to
piggyback
fly
onto
across
another
state to
one.
a school and ask them, "Can I come to your pro day?"
Yeah, exactly. The one today, Carson Vincent, the Alabama A&M left tackle, he's been invited to Alabama's pro day, which is good for him, but he would not have got one otherwise. But that's at least going to be big for him. So, yeah, there's just these FCS guys, these Group of Five guys, just they get snubbed, and I do not like it at all. But right, let's go through this list, Gus. There's quite a lot of players going. In terms of the quarterbacks, so we got Max Brosmer out of Minnesota, Brady Cook, Missouri, Jackson Dart, Ole Miss, Quinn Ewers, Texas, Dylan Gabriel, Oregon, Seth Hennigan, Memphis, Will Howard, Ohio State, Riley Leonard, Notre Dame, Kyle McCord from Syracuse, Graham Mertz from Florida, Jalen Milrow from Alabama, Curtis Rourke from Indiana, Shadur Sanders, Colorado, Tyler Shook from Louisville, Cam Ward from Miami. It
You know what makes
feels
me mad as well? I
disgusting
know
that
for a
Graham
fact
Mertz is
Graham
in
Mertz
there.
won't be doing any drills.
He's injured, isn't he?
Didn't he tear his ACL?
Yeah,
So he's only
yeah,
there for interviews.
yeah.
So
And
we're
Cam
still
Miller's
in the
not.
age of where we invite guys to combine, where we don't make exceptions for other people when they can't do any on-field drills.
Mm.
Why is Cam Miller not here and Graham Mertz not here because he can't do anything?
No, no, it's crazy. But there's a wide variety of guys there. I mean, I look at that, and for me, the guys who really can sort of benefit from this, obviously Max Brosmer, like he's continuing his offseason. I think him, if he measures well, if he
Rock.
throws
I think
well,
Rock
Curtis
needs to be
Rourke.
able to find a way to stand out.
Got to have a good combine for him
Tyler
as
Shook
well.
is interesting. I know he'll get all the measurables because he's nearly 6'6". Like
Mm.
I say, he's built like Jared Goff. He's tall. He's a runner bean. Like you say, he'll impress guys. Like you say, he's someone like you say that will instantly someone will be like, oh, look at him. And I like him. I think he's a good prospect. But yeah, some of these guys, yeah. I suppose Jalen Milrow, he's going to show off the athleticism, isn't he? Like you said,
Yeah,
the
everyone's
40
going to go
time, everyone's going to
crazy.
be watching the 40 time.
I can already see like ML football posting, "Oh my God, this is the greatest combine of all time from Jalen Milrow. He should be the number one overall pick."
The interesting one for me is Dylan Gabriel
Oh, really?
because he's never been overly athletic. The measurables will probably be better than average. For me, he's never been a guy that I thought, oh, he'll test well because I think he'll test subpar. Like I
Hmm.
say, he's a veteran. Like I say, he's a savvy vet. Like I say, I don't expect him to jump off the numbers. And he's a guy that he's just got lost in all of this, despite achieving way more than nearly all of the quarterbacks on the list. He just doesn't get any love whatsoever.
Now, see, I'm in the same boat with Kyle McCord. I'm just so intrigued by him as a prospect and what he brings. Like, because he hits all three areas of the field, if he, does well in his throwing drills, which I fully expect him to, like, I could see a lot of people, like, he might show some highlight plays in there. People be like, well, why not? I don't see an obvious huge knock on him that prevents him from being
Yeah.
good in the NFL. It's
6'1",
just,
225,
yeah.
decent. If he measures up to that, like you say, good pro build.
Yeah, he's got the deep. He can hit all three levels. I think maybe if he can be consistent in that mid-range, I think that's where he struggled in the past. He gets those mid-range ones right, and he's throwing well. He's throwing consistently on target. I think Kyle McCord will come out with this much the better in terms of people's
If
views
you're looking
about
at
him.
guys that have got the most to gain, it's probably Seth Hennigan
Yeah,
because, as you say, he's the guy there from the smallest school. And like you say, he's the least household name in the list,
yeah,
despite being a massive achiever. A lot of people there are like, never heard of him.
no,
Well, you should watch my AAC.
yeah, absolutely.
I think on tape, like say his throwing drills, he could do really well, and he should measure really well. I think Seth Hennigan, ain't he good six
Six
three, two
four.
twenty?
I think he was six. He's either 6'3" or 6'4". I'm
Yeah, he's a
sure he's
big guy.
taller.
Like I say, I'd like to see him put together, like say, a good week. He needs to do all the drills, whereas a guy like Shador Sanders probably doesn't really do any drills. He doesn't want to risk any injury. He's probably just going to do interviews.
Yeah, I'd probably do interviews and just do that. So yeah, I don't think there's any of them with any serious injury records to
No,
try and
I don't see any of them. Like you say, I suppose,
apart from Mertz.
yeah.
But
Mertz and Rourke had some injuries this year, but most of them had a pretty clean bill of
yeah,
health, didn't they?
yeah. So I don't think we're waiting on any big injury things from any of them there.
Yeah.
So
Like I
yeah,
say, a lot of the guys here, unless you take out Shador, you take out Cam,
hmm,
you take out Dart, a lot of these guys, yeah, like I say, could be anywhere between, like you say, pick 15, 20, and pick 220.
yeah, yeah.
Really is a wild class.
Yeah, absolutely. They could be all over the place, but I'm pulling for Brosma. We're all on the Brosma train now. We hope he does well and does his stock there. The running back class, I mean, Jesus, this may be the best running back class that's ever gone to a combine in history. There's a ton of them. So you got LaQuint Allen, the Syracuse lead running back, Ulysses Bentley, the fourth out of Ole Miss, Jaden Blue out of Texas, Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, Donovan Edwards, Michigan. Trevor Etienne, Georgia, DJ Giddens, K-State, Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State, Amarian Hampton, UNC, RJ Harvey, UCF, Travion Henderson, Ohio State, Jarquez Hunter, Auburn, Jaquindon Jackson, Arkansas, Jordan James, Oregon, Ashton Gianti, running back one in many people's view from Boise State, Caleb Johnson from Iowa, Montrell Johnson Jr. from Florida, Quinshawn Judkins from Ohio State, Corey Kiner from Cincinnati, Phil Maffer from Clemson, Jaquavius Marks, USC, Damian Martinez, Miami, Kyle Monangai, Rutgers, Kalel Mullings, Michigan, Devin Neal, Kansas, Dylan Sampson, Tennessee, Rocket Sanders, South Carolina, Cam Scatterboo, Arizona State, Brajard Smith, SMU, Baishal Tootin from Virginia Tech, and then poor old Marcus Yarns from Delaware, who had himself a great bowl game. But I mean, Jesus Christ, that's
Talking
a
one of the
who's
deepest
who
classes. It,
ever.
yeah,
And this feels like I know the combine shouldn't matter
it's
greatly in the
gonna
scheme of
matter.
things, but for the running backs especially, this feels like you've got to perform a bad combine performance, some bad measurements and some bad drills could send you potentially from like running back 5 to running back 15 or something like that. It could cost you days worth of waiting in the NFL draft.
Yeah, this is not the draft to sit out and be like, don't sit on your numbers. Unless you're Genty or Judkins, or if you know you're a top 50 kind of guy, then do you know what? Don't risk injury. But for the rest of them, do everything. Yeah. Like I say, your 40 is going to matter. Every one of them, and like barring injury, you're all going to have to run the 40 because, like I say, it's going to be the easiest and the laziest way to compare them all. Who runs fast, who runs slow. Like I say, Taj Brooks probably don't run a quick 40 because he's a meathead. Like you say, Ollie
230.
Gordon might not run a big 40, like you say, because he's like 6'1, 215, 220. And Marion Hampton, big guys, but then you'll have guys, like say, that'll run a blazing 40, like you say, and they'll be the ones, like say, that light up the pages. But yeah, there's a lot of different guys, like I say, there's all shapes for all tastes here. There's guys through, like say, here, 5'8", 5'9", all the way through to 6'2".
I mean, is there anyone like specifically? I mean, I know these are all good guys in their own right. Is there anyone who you feel is like on the outside looking in with this group? Because I mean, like, I even look at guys like Kyle Monangai is tremendous, but he's undersized and he doesn't really catch the ball a lot. And you figured like he's going to have to really stand out in his running back drills and show that, I'm a better running back than three-quarters of these guys to really be able to, be drafted high. I feel like there are some guys who are looking outside in here and then they need to do well. But I think Monan is one of those. But I
For
love him.
me, do you know what? And it's Trevor Etienne. He's little, and he's always been good, not great. Two big schools, he's been good. And not to mention, he will always be compared to his brother. Now, it's not fair, like I say, that's not used against him,
Yeah.
but he will be, like I say. And yeah, he has got to find a way to emerge. Like I say, he's had 3 years, he's not top 750 yards. He's never had double digit touchdowns. He's played for the Gators and the Bulldogs, two of the biggest teams in the country. Like I say, and it feels like he's always been a passenger or like a bystander. And I think in this class, I think he's buried. Like
Yeah.
175 meters. His measurables are going to be massive because I've got a feeling he's going to come out and he's going to be really small and light.
Because people are going to use the James Cook comp. Obviously, James Cook came out, not a lot of mileage on the clock, sort of passengered
Yeah,
at Georgia, but
yeah. It took him a long time to get going.
it did. They're going to need someone to be patient with him. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah tweeted out the other day, I think he said, fuck it, three running backs in round one. Is that a potential, do you reckon? Do you reckon we could realistic? I look at this
I can
list.
see Jonty and Judkins.
I
It's
can
who
see
who
Hampton getting in
yeah.
there.
I mean, you've got to make a question. Is it Henderson? Is it Hampton or is it Gordon? Who would be the third?
Not including Scat in that?
No.
Is you resigned to him in day two now?
He's a day two, and I think he knows he's a day two.
I
But
mean, what can
that's
Scat
fine.
do for you? What could Scat do for you here that would like, if you were gonna
Bench
if
press
you
is
wanted him to
important because if
show
I
one
remember
thing,
Scatterbo, I remember he's got short arms. Needs
yeah.
to do a good bench press because he's got to prove he can block.
Is
I know
that
he's
what you want
physical and
him
he's a
to
compact
prove
runner, but
then?
he needs to, yeah. And we need to see some. Also, we need to see the pass catching. So the core, we need to see the agility drills.
See, I
I know
think
he's physical and he's got a short center of gravity, but he's got to show he can do a lot of passing game as well.
I feel like Scattered separate himself in that. I think he's one of the better pass catchers the pass catchers
He's
in this
got
group.
balance
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
like I said, because he's not as tall and he's not, he's heavier. Like I say, he's got a good center of gravity. He'll do
Yeah.
well there. I don't think he'll run a fast 40, but he's never been about his game. He's not that fast.
I know this is really unfair because there's that many guys here, but which one do you reckon runs the quickest 40 out of all of them? I put my money on RJ Harvey, but I don't know if anyone can run quicker than RJ Harvey. I could be
Uh,
wrong,
that is
but
a really good question.
I feel like RJ Harvey would lay claim to a good 40 time, but is there anyone else you reckon could beat him there? Who am I looking at for breakneck? Like Rocket Sanders. Is Rocket a bit too big to get the 40 done? He's 6'1", I
If I'm looking at a
think.
guy, like say it's a perfect build to have a good 40, John James, Oregon. He's
Ooh.
not too heavy, he's not too tall, and like you say, yeah, I think he should have a good 40. I think he needs a good 40.
I feel like, yeah, RJ Harvey does. This is crazy. You got RJ Harvey, Jarquez Hunter,
RJ Harvey
guys who
should
are
be
not
fun, like I
even.
say, because he's just a weapon. Like I say, guys I think that will run a slow 40 that can't run it. Quinn Jackson.
Hmm.
Big, he's heavy. I'm going to be
I
looking at his 40.
I'm with you. I think Taj Brooks will struggle, but he's 230,
But
and
then
he's
again,
what? Is
like
he
I suppose like Jaden Blue, he should probably be pretty damn fast.
saying that? I reckon Brashard Smith might run a quick 40. He's he's lightning when he wants to be. I think this is intriguing, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to seeing the running backs more of all because this is bloodthirsty. This is cutthroat, especially with running back position being devalued. So many of these guys are going to go day three when in any other draft they go
Yeah.
high day two.
Jaden Blue apparently was clocked at 20 under 23 mile an hour this year against Texas Tech, and he thinks can crack under 4.4. He said apparently they're his words.
Has a running back ever done sub 4.4?
Uh,
Just I'm going to have a look at this and just have a look,
he
see
thinks it,
who.
yeah, he said he set the profile, he wants to run 4.4, which would
Let's
be probably up there with this group.
hang on. So, the quickest ever running back at the NFL Combine, Chris Johnson back in
Oh yeah,
2008.
CJ2K. Yeah.
He ran a 4.24. Fuck. That is quick.
That was the one that lasted decades, wasn't it? And like I said, John Ross broke it, wasn't
It was. Just to go back, so who did it at the 2024? I'm trying to remember who ran the quick one there now. Oh, to think about it. But yeah. So 424 is to beat. I don't think anyone's gonna beat him. I don't
it?
think anyone will ever beat Chris Johnson.
No.
But
I've not seen in the news anyone expected to challenge John Ross's time.
no, I don't think
I haven't seen anyone claiming they're going to run a sub 4.3.
um well, Xavier Worthy set the record last year, didn't
He
he?
did, yeah, 4.21.
421.
4.21 is the new record. I haven't seen anyone boasting they'll beat that.
No. No, it is. You are right. That is odd, isn't it? Because you always see somebody
That says I'm
who's
going to beat it.
vocally out there saying,
Yeah. Whoever does, I say, someone's got to run a 4.2 flat to beat that.
um, yeah, that would be. So, who have we got here?
I feel like it's going to have to be a wide receiver, potentially,
So,
or a
P
corner.
so PFN have got the list here of guys they think are likely. So yeah, they've got Jaden Blue on there. He's a
Yeah.
track athlete at school. You've got Bishal Tootin, which actually thinking about it, he's ran a 432 before. So he is. Gianti's on there. Brashard Smith is on there as well. I was right. He ran 22.1 miles an hour in week 10 this
I
year.
can't see Johnny breaking it.
No. In terms of wide receivers, so you've got Isaiah Bond out of Texas, which
Yeah.
actually makes a lot of sense. He had that. I think he got clocked at something insane this year. That I was watching the game when he did it. I can't remember who it was against now, but they reckon he can run a 4.2, but maybe not flat. Arian Smith out of Georgia, and Travis Hunter is on there as well. But I've never. Travis Hunter's never talked about his 40, but I don't know if he'll do one.
No.
But he's going as a DB, so that's interesting. I thought it'd be the other way round,
Yeah.
but
For
uh,
me, he's always been a corner and he'll be drafted as a corner. Like I said, does he need to run a 40?
yeah, yeah. He clocked 21 mile an hour this year, so he's a couple down on. But I guess it's all about short area speed and not doing there. Aaron Smith maybe could. Um, they reckon he can run a 4.2, but yeah, I don't think we'll see the record broken. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting nonetheless. Right, let's move it down through these groups. Let me get back to where we were. So, wide receiver wise, Again, quite a lot here. Quickly get through them as quick as I can. Andrew Armstrong from Arkansas, Elik Ayamana from Stanford, Elijah Badger from Florida, Jack Beck from TCU, Isaiah Bond from Texas, Ja'Cory Brooks from Louisville, Sam Brown Jr. from Miami, Pat Bryant from Illinois, Luther Burden III from Missouri, Bo Collins from Notre Dame, Kamiri Dyke from Florida, Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State, Daquan Felton, Virginia Tech, Ty Felton from Maryland, Jacoby George, Miami, Matthew Golden from Texas, Trey Harris from Ole Miss, Jaden Higgins, Iowa State, Trayshawn Holden from Oregon, Jimmy Horn Jr. from Colorado, Torrey Horton from Colorado State, Kobe Hudson from UCF, Travis Hunter. Oh, is he in both? I swear they said he was going to be a DB. I'll check.
I think he's going to take part in their individual drills.
Oh, maybe. That makes sense. Daniel Jackson from Minnesota, Tez Johnson, Oregon, Josh Kelly, Texas Tech, Lambert Smith from Auburn, Jalen Lane, Virginia Tech, Dominic Lovett from Georgia, Brew McCoy from Tennessee, Tet McMillan from Arizona, Kanata Mumpfield, Pittsburgh, Nick Nash, San Jose State, Isaiah Neyor, Nebraska, Jalen Noel, Iowa State, Caden Prather, Maryland, Xavier Restrepo, Miami, Jalen Royals, Utah State, Arian Smith, Arian Smith from Georgia, Rock Taylor, Memphis, Isaac Teslar from Arkansas, Dante Thornton Jr. from Tennessee. I thought he might have broke a 40 record. Jordan Watkins, Ole Miss, Theo Weiss from Missouri, Antoine Wells, Ole Miss, LeJounte Wester, Colorado, Ricky White, UNLV, Kyle Williams, Washington State, Savion Williams, TCU. There is a lot of names in there, Ryan, and not the strongest wide receiver class in history out of them all, but again, a lot of potential in here. But you're looking at guys who need good combines. I mean, the names that stand out to me, obviously Jack Beck, continuing his run into the postseason and how well he's been doing, and Matthew Golden as well. Because I think he's great, but I don't know whether he's got enough on tape in college. He's declaring early. I feel like
It
he
was a
needs a good
surprise declare for
combine.
me, yeah.
I think he needs a really good combine just to justify his decision. But if he does well, like he should be first rounder, no shadow of a doubt. Are there any other names, or do you agree? Do you think Jack Beck needs a good one as well?
I don't think Jack Beck needs to do hardly anything. I think I think he's done it all. I think he's done everything as well. I think he's they come across the interviews. I think he's come across as a person. The name to me to watch is if there's a guy here that can have a good combine and go in the first round, it's Jane Higgins. If he blows up the
Ooh.
combine, Jane Higgins, he will go first round. People already love him as like a top 50 pick. If he blows it up, yeah, I think someone will reach. I think someone will pluck him out.
And
Like I
like
said, I think if he can smash the drills,
he makes box office catches. Like the one he did at the Senior Bowl was just insane. I agree there. I'm with you.
we've seen measurements as well. Like I said, we'll know he'll live up to the measurements because we've seen them all already. He is 6'3". He is 220 pounds. Like he's got all that. It's fine. It'll be the drills.
Mm, perfect X receiver in there.
Yeah.
I guess Jalen Royals is going to need to show out as well. Everyone is big on the Utah State guy, but again, it feels like he needs to perform well amongst all these other guys just to, because I know round one has been whispered in his ether. Um, Potentially if he has a good combine.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of highlight tapes, like say a lot of big plays, like say, but 5'11". Yeah, it's the measurables. He needs a good combine. I mean, don't get me wrong. I ain't touching him the first round of a barge pole, no matter how well he does. I'm not that confident in him. I'm willing to be wrong in a couple of years and he's a Hall of Famer. I'll be fine with that. But I don't want to be the guy that plucks him and yeah, you've got egg on your face in 3 years. But he's one of the names where he, he can do himself the world of good with a good combine. He can prove that he's better than his size and his measurables, which will all probably be average.
So I want to quickly ask this before you do it more, guys. The one guy you love more than anybody here, and I know you would probably take a flyer on him the first thing he could. What does Trey Harris need to do with the combine to get himself in this conversation, or is he already there?
I mean, I think he's there, but every mock I see, very few of them have him there. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what he has to do. He's like 6'2", like 190. He's got the big play production. He's got years of production. Like you say, he's got great. It can make outlandish, outrageous catches. Like I say, he's gone up against the best talent in the country. He's played one of the biggest schools of a quarterback that, for me, is no doubt going top 10. I just don't get it. I don't know what he needs to do. It, I,
Is it?
I don't. It's one of those, like, no matter what he does, I feel like there'll be a lot of guys that just don't see him as a first round receiver.
I don't know what the knock on is on him. Do you know what the knock is on him? What people are not
For me,
like?
it can't be size, because 6'2", 190 for me is there. It's above average.
Does he just need to put on like 10 pounds or something, maybe? Or I don't know. I mean, I feel like his speed is good. I don't think it's backbreaking, but I don't
No,
think he
I
needs. He's
feel
not
like,
that kind of
I
guy, is
just like
he?
he's so well rounded at everything.
He's a contested cat. He's a big, bulky receiver, and like the amount of times it takes two, three, four guys to bring him down,
Yeah,
like
I don't see the flaws.
that's got to carry merit, right? So, yeah, I'm with
I
you.
don't see why everyone has Luther Burden in like the top 20, 25, but then they don't have Trey Harris to like 40, 45. I don't see the why the gap.
No, no, I'm with you. I think, and I love Luther Burden as well, but I'm with you. I think Trey Harris he's got a lot to offer, and I don't get what the love isn't with him there. So, I mean, who else is on?
Igbuka. See, we think he's a star, and everyone in college thinks he's a star. But when you look at like the projections and drafts, a lot of people don't think it translates as a pro.
I mean, he's shorter, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he just play outside. He's an
I mean,
outside,
he's coming from a crazy bloodline of first line receivers, but
and
first round receivers.
he's been buried down the depth chart. You had
Yeah,
MHJ there till this point last year, and then you've had Jeremiah Smith this year.
yeah.
It
I feel like he
almost
needs himself a good combine just so people remember who he is.
I feel like he's just suffering from he's always been the bridesmaid there, and he's never been the bride, but he can be the bride, metaphorically speaking. There's always been some other superstar there, and like MHJ went top five. Jeremiah Smith's probably going to go top three when he declares, and that's just not fair. Even for a top 20 guy, it's hard to stand out amongst those.
Yeah. And you mentioned Matthew Golden. I also look at Isaiah Bond, another one that declared a season too early.
Yes, correct.
Is he just a deep ball specialist? Is he just is there more to his game?
He's got to do more than just be a speed merchant. I think that's what when you're doing your gauntlet and that, and
Yeah.
I think that's where you've got to do
Yeah. We
well
know
with
Isaiah
him.
Bond is going to run an absolutely blazing 40, but
Yeah,
we know he will, which means
yeah.
it doesn't matter. It won't wow me.
No, it's about it.
I knew Xavier Worthy was going to be fast. And Xavier Worthy, for me, he started the season very slow.
Yeah.
It took a while to integrate himself into the offense. And don't get me wrong, by season's end, yeah, he's become a star. But like I said, Bond's going to have to go the same way. He's going to have to prove his worth.
Mm. I mean, you look at this list here. I mean, is there anyone who could like shoot up the board with a really? Is there anyone like who's there and ready to shoot up boards if they do really well? Because I mean, there's some talent in here.
I
I
mean,
mean,
you look at guys like say that were super productive as college, like say. So we look at Restrepo.
mm,
He's got college numbers, and a lot of guys these days they don't have them.
no.
Like say he's been a big part of an offense. Yeah, like say you look at
What about Brew?
Ricky White. See Brew McCoy.
He's
Like I
such an
said, he's been
intriguing
so
case,
unlucky with
isn't
injury. Because like
he?
I said this year,
Yeah.
another one he broke his leg, didn't he? Like you say, another guy coming off a serious injury that will is a big guy like 6'3", 6'4",
And he's a
and
menace.
yeah, he's a physical dominating guy. But he's not had any real production. It feels like in college, it always feels like someone's niggling or holding him back.
You feel like his medicals will be huge, don't you?
Yeah,
Like to show that there's no
he's had
long
multiple
term.
injuries.
I think he broke his ankle. The first one was a broken ankle, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That really derailed him just as he was getting going. Then he's had another serious one.
yeah,
Sorry, you mentioned Ricky White, did you?
yeah. Like I say, Ricky White is the because
Love
when
him.
you look at all these guys, he's the one from the small school
Yeah.
that, like I say, will have to command some respect. But a lot of people love him. Like I say, he feels like a fan favorite. Like I say, he's gonna be interesting. Yeah. The name at the bottom of the list is the one that intrigues me. It's Savion Williams, 6'4", 225 pounds, the TCU second receiver. Big as I love. He is an imposing, physical, dominating threat. Like I say, he's someone that he will probably surprise a few if he puts together a really good combine. Like I say, I think he's someone that could rock it up boards.
I think he might as well. Yeah, I agree. Ricky White certainly could. He's the most all-round receiver out of a lot of them. I just hope he gets to show it. Yeah, I feel like this is where the hidden talent could be. I mean, the young Colorado, like Jimmy Horn. Like I'm actually looking forward to seeing Jimmy
Wester,
Horn
Horn. I
there.
want to see all the
Wester.
Colorado receivers that are not Hunter.
No, because they have size again. A lot of these guys are quite short and that, but they're insanely talented. Jimmy Horn, he's as much as big as that revolution at Colorado as the star names there, like Shadeur and Travis and that. You feel because every time Shadeur was in trouble, it felt like Jimmy Horn was there for him.
Yeah. Like you say, he was, like you say, played second fiddle, but really it kind of all fell apart about him. He was kind of like say he felt like the glue that held them together because he was very reliable despite not seeing all the attention that a lot of them got. He just kind of quietly went about his business.
And you feel like he'd be the same in the NFL, wouldn't you? Like some team will get him and he will be the glue
Yeah.
for them and he will do whatever you need him to and he will always be there.
If we're talking about guys that if they had a bad combine would be crashed, I feel like it's
Ooh.
Nick Nash. I feel like everyone already doubts him because of the competition, even though he put up crazy numbers. If he had a bad combine, I feel like he would crumble. And he's
The
older at like he'll be 25, won't he, at the draft?
yeah.
He's already like say way older than a lot of these guys. And like I said, that already caps his ceiling. He can't have a bad combine.
No, I know, and you already mentioned it, but Luther Burden's getting knocked recently. I don't know why. If he has a bad comment, that might kick him out the first round. I feel like his stock could go down there. I
I
mean,
can't
the oth-
I'm not confident in how many receivers right now it's the first round.
the Iron Mano's another
If
one.
I
Like
call
I
Hunt just a cornerback, for me, only McMillan and for me a Harris are first round receivers.
yeah.
But
I mean,
I see Matthew Golden and that like frequently put in first round mocks.
I think he should be.
I
I
think he
think I
could be. Yeah.
I think he should be. But whether he is or not, and like you say, Higgins should be potentially. He could be right on the cusp there. Who else? Ayamano. I love Elik Ayamano. I think Elik Ayamano's a terrific receiver, and no one talks about him. I feel
Yeah.
like he's. It feels like he's declared early because I thought he broke out quite young the year before last,
Yeah.
and now he's. I think
He
he
was a
must be an
star freshman or
underclassman as
sophomore,
well.
and yeah.
I think he's only a junior this year,
Yeah.
so
And Stanford have been terrible the whole time he's been there, which has not
yeah.
helped.
But he's a great route runner.
Yeah.
He's a
Not to mention as
technician,
well,
and
I'd
his
like
size.
if he's like 6'3" and 225, the guy is like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, if he's like still for some reason knocking around at 60 or whatever, then
Yeah.
sign
If he
me
can
up.
prove he's fast and he's got
Yeah,
agility to go with like say muscle, because he's
I
got a
th
lot of muscle and size, like
I
say he will be the complete
I
package.
think that might be the knock on him, and maybe like
Yeah.
a lack of true lots of years as a starter. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I
that yeah,
agree.
those drills will be big for him. Like I say, he could
Yeah.
do a good 40.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I hope Iron Man does well. I really, really like him. Right, let's move on out the receivers. We'll go on to the tight end group, and oh God, no, this is the land of who knows what the hell's going to happen with these guys. So we've got Elijah Arroyo from Miami, Gavin Bartholomew from Pittsburgh, Jake Brenningstool from Clemson, Jalen Conyers from Texas Tech, CJ Dupree from Alabama, Mitch Evans from Notre Dame. Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, Terrence Ferguson from Oregon, Thomas Fedone II from Nebraska, Aronde Gadsden II from Syracuse, Jackson Hawes from Georgia Tech, Gunnar Helm from Texas, Brant Keaty from Utah, Luke Lakey from Iowa, Colston Loveland, Michigan, Maliki Mataveo from UCLA, Brian Nesbitt from UNC, Robbie Oots from Alabama, Joshua Simon from South Carolina, Mason Taylor from LSU, and Tyler Warren from Penn State. I mean, this feels like the statement where we've had a clutch of tight ends have great postseason. You look at Elijah Arroyo, you look at Jalen Conyers, who's been really good. You look at Mason Taylor, who's had, not guys who've maybe stood out in college, but guys who've really stood out in this postseason. This feels, this is the complete unknown group, and it might be difficult to pick who's going to rise from the crop here because a lot of them could, but they've not earned it during their time at college.
No, there's a lot of guys here that have had little to no production. Through that, some of it's their own fault. Some of it is frankly, like say, it's the offense or the team they landed with, like Luke Lachey. The kid never stood a chance. There's some huge red flags here. And I think you know who I'm going to say. Who's going to have the worst medical record here?
Oh, Mitch Evans is going
Frank
to have
Cuthey.
Brant Kuithe as well.
That
Brant
guy spent
Kuithe.
like 6 years in college. It felt like he had at least 4 season-ending injuries.
Mm,
He feels like he's held together with like glue and sticky tape.
Mitch
Yeah,
Evans. Yeah. Mitch
his
Evans.
testing is going to be huge just to see how much they've had an effect on him. Because he went from like say a big name to a nobody. No disrespect to him this year. Like I say, came back from a severe injury this year. Could not integrate himself in time before he ran out of eligibility. Like
Mm.
I say, there's a lot of interesting guys. Like I say,
The top two, Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, does a bad combine knock either of them out of the first round? Or are they locked in at this point?
probably
As much
not
as I
because
hate
tight end
Warren
is
been
now
in,
such a premium prize position. I don't think it affects them.
I agree. And I don't think Tyler Warren's worth the first round pick, but
We've been
maybe.
burned. I don't like first down tight end picks. Like I say, you only have to go back to 2 years ago. Yep, look at Michael Mayer. He's now invisible.
That's not his fault. He got
It's not, but
dra-
if they saw something in him, they don't take Brock Bowers.
But did they expect Brock Bowers to fall to them? What did they get him at? 14?
14. But yeah,
And
but did
Brock
they need
Bowers
him for
was
me?
all, yeah.
For me, it was a luxury pick. Don't get me wrong, it panned out well, but at the time I thought, you don't need that. Like
I
I said,
feel like
tight
they
end
should have.
is it's a hot bag. Like I say, here you've got a mixture of clear receivers, Fanning. Like I say, you've got straight up blockers, Lachey. You've got mixture, Gunnar Helm. Like I say, and you've got guys that have never found a role and just don't have a niche, and they're impossible to work out.
I mean, this does feel like the most critical for Harold Fannin, right? Because now you've just noticed recently the small school bias is starting to be shown against
Yep.
him. And that's not his fault. Like, he's done nothing wrong here, but it feels like that crowd are starting to push him down boards unfairly. But this feels like the combine he's got to do well because he will feed these fears if he doesn't do well.
Yeah. We already know, like you say, the measurables, they're probably going to be average. So he's already, like you say, behind the chains. When he comes out at, like, say, 6'3.5", 6'4", 250, they're like, that's not big enough for a modern tight end. A lot of them say, well, we'll get guys here that'll be 6'7" plus. But like I said, they don't have half the production. You just look at him like, he's a freak. He could do things at the next level. Like I say, yeah. So he's already at a disadvantage. He's going to have to prove himself despite having an absolute stellar year. Like I say, just outplaying guys at the position. The position has changed now, but some people accept that. There's names here, like I say, that Elijah Arroyo is a guy that I think will surprise people. I think if he tests really well in a group that if it's top heavy and it's kind of like say it falls off a lot, I think he can kind of bridge that gap. He had a really good year this year. He was really important to the Hurricanes.
It feels like he's, especially the pass catching with him. That's where he's
Yeah.
sort of been distinguishing himself. You've got to
He's a
nail
threat in the
those
passing
receiver
game.
drills. Yeah, nail those receiver drills and show you've got the lower body strength to block. And then you feel like his is there. Because again, you mentioned about the guys with the stock and like guy like Mason Taylor who've not done a great deal, but is he's 6'5", 260, I think. Like he's got the
Yeah.
size and he would get unfair looks over Fanning because of that, right? And but they could be in the conversation as well. CJ Dupree's had a pretty good offseason for Alabama, but it just feels
Yeah.
like,
I mean, he's had a good career. He's never been important. Well, no, he's not. He's never
yeah.
looked important because he's never had the numbers, but he's been there for years and he's been a huge part of what they've done that's just not talked about.
Mm. Like the one who intrigues me most here is Gadsden. I, I know people say they're going to move him to slot when he's there, and he's not going to really play tight end as well. I think he can do both. Like, genuinely, no one can do what Aronde Gadsden does out of this lot. As a blocker, as a receiver, as tight end, to do all this. I think he's genuinely the most versatile guy out of a lot of these. And I do not know why he's not loved more. In terms of guys who could rise high, I mean,
For me,
is this
the
about
name
Jay?
I'm watching is Maliki Matavayo,
Oh, the
six
UCLA
six
one.
240. He's built like he's massive. He's built like a lamppost. I think if he can show he's athletic, he had a good year this year, had nearly 600 yards. Like I said, I think he could be one of the sleepers of the whole class. And he won't be expensive. He won't cost you
No.
a high pick.
No, you're right there. I mean, this also does feel like the proving ground for Jalen Conyers as well, right? No one has elevated their stock as a tight end, maybe more than him. Again, you're coming out that pass-heavy system at Texas Tech. You know, you've got to be built tough there. The receivers are built well. The running backs are built well. He could be maybe the one who might rise the most potentially.
From where he started at, yeah. Like you say, he's come from a base where he was a bit of a non-thought for a couple of years. Like I say, and this year, like I say, became a good part of an offense. He's done it two schools. Like I say, he's had consistently average numbers, like I say, but he's never been the focal part of an offense.
Yeah,
So yeah, like I say, he's got production. He's a senior. He's well experienced. He's got 4 years under his belt. Like I say, he can block because he's come from two schools that wanted to run the ball. The Sun
mm,
Devils, the Red Raiders. Two things they both have in common is they both are excellent at running the ball. Like I
yeah,
say, so he's proved his worth as blocker, which is probably where he can separate himself. And then also, yeah, he pitches in with catches.
yeah. But no one else is threatening the first round here, right? There's
No,
Warren, there's Loveland, and maybe Fanning, but that's it.
yeah,
I don't know
I
if Harold
do. Yeah,
Fanning makes it anymore.
a lot of these guys are yeah day two. I look at these a lot of day three. A lot of these
Yeah,
guys will not have the name call at all.
yeah, absolutely. Right, let's move this on. We'll go for the O lineman, and geez, there's a lot of them. I'll try and maybe break these in half. So we've got Kelvin Banks from Texas, Anthony Belton from NC State, Tyler Booker from Alabama, who is worryingly mocked to the Lions very often,
Yep,
Logan Brown from Kansas, Will Campbell from LSU, Connor Colby from Iowa, Josh Connolly Jr. from Oregon, Hayden Connor from Texas, Johnny Cornelius from Oregon, Eli Cox from Kentucky, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon from Florida, Garrett Dellinger from LSU, Aaron Ty Ursery from Minnesota, Dylan Fairchild from Georgia, Miles Frazier from LSU, Charles Grant from William and Mary, Joshua Gray from Oregon State, Miles Hinton from Michigan, Joe Huber from Wisconsin, Donovan Jackson from Ohio State, Emory Jones Jr. from LSU, and Luke Kanja from Cincinnati. We'll start with that half of them. Um, I mean, out of there, Ursery's rising up boards quite a lot. I think this is big for Aronte Ursery to measure well and do well. I don't know about you, but I see him sneaking up to day one-ish, potentially.
yeah, he's one of those guys that's on that periphery, and it's very hard to be a top between top 32 and being like say a top 40 pick. It's a big gap, like say, and you always get a big run of offensive linemen in the first round. Usually, we have in recent years where one goes and the next thing you get a long string. He wants to try and continue that. Like I say, he's had a good off season. Like I say, the measurables, it's pretty big for offensive linemen. The small hands, the short arms. It's not the height of the weight; it's usually the arms that kill a lineman. Like I say, if you've got short little stumpy arms, yeah, some of them will be like they'll strike you off straight away. Whether that's fair or not, but yeah, a lot of these guys here, a lot of these guys, I've seen a ton of these guys mocked to Lions at 28, at least
Does,
five different names.
does Josh Connolly need a good combine? Especially after how Mike Green dealt with him at the Senior Bowl?
Probably will want to get that taste out of his mouth. Yeah, probably will want to prove that that was just him being off balance, or it was just a
Hmm.
bad drill and he caught him off guard, and it's not. any indicative of, like, say, how susceptible he is.
I don't get the Tyler Booker love to the Lions at 28. I don't think he's a first round pick personally. I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing it, and I don't like it. If they're going to go anyone, I'd rather it be Donovan Jackson because he's played left tackle this year as well as left guard. He's versatile as well. I'd spend a first round pick on that.
Booker feels, yeah, very safe. Whilst I agree, feels a bit one dimensional.
Mm,
Not a guy I'd feel comfortable moving around.
no.
I would like a guy that's got experience of multiple starts and multiple positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Other linemen we've got here, Drew Kendall, center from Boston College, Chase Lunt, right tackle from UConn.
Dylan Fairchild, I've seen him mocked to lines a few times, but as a late pick, like as a
I
developmental, like you
wouldn't
say, I don't
mind
mind that
that.
because he is very experienced, isn't he?
Yeah, I
He's been
wouldn't
there a
mind
long
that.
time.
I feel like he's just got lost because everyone talks about Ratledge, don't they? Not
Yeah,
him. And that's where, but I don't know where Tate Ratledge goes, to be fair, because he's had injury issues this year. Maybe he needs a good. Is he there? I'm pretty sure Tate Ratledge is there. He is. So I think Tate Ratledge needs a good combine in terms of his medicals. Jake Majors, Texas, Marcus Moe from Purdue, Seth
it's
McLaughlin
always hard
from
with these guys because they group
Ohio
together
State.
natural centers,
Yeah,
guards, I like to say, and just pure tackles.
yeah. Armand Membu, who's the Missouri tackle, he missed his bowl game because of illness. Wyatt Millham, the left tackle from West Virginia, who, yeah, he's a left tackle. He's the best left tackle in the draft. I don't get why he's first round
Luke
participation is
Kandra,
in.
like I say, Luke Kandra's popular as a project kind of guy.
I love him. If we're going to get a project guard, it'd be him. Get him early day three at this rate, and again, don't know why. Jonah Monheim, USC, Jack Nelson from Wisconsin. He feels like a Lionsy pick, maybe. Holland Pierce, Rutgers, Tate Ratledge, Georgia, Jalen Rivers, Miami, Caleb Rogers, Texas Tech, Jonas Savaiinaea from Arizona, Josh Simmons, Ohio State, Torricelli Simpkins the third, South Carolina, Jackson Slater from Sacramento State. I want to see him do well. He had a phenomenal Shrine Ball, and he was absolutely amazing. I would love to have him here. Marcus Tate, Clemson, Branson Taylor, Pittsburgh, Ozzie Trapio.
Trippier, yeah, he's a guy as well. I've seen that. It's
He's the right tackle. Was he right tackle at Boston College? I think he
He's the right
was.
side, yeah.
Uh, Jalen Travis, Iowa State. Xavier Truss, Georgia. I think he was there. Was he there? I don't know. Ooh, we might have been the right tackle. Carson Vinson, Alabama A&M. Clay Webb, Jacksonville State. Cam Williams, the Texas right tackle. John Williams, orchestral music. No, he's not. Cincinnati. Jared Wilson, Georgia. And Grazer Bell from North Dakota State.
I think the small school guys are the ones that need the big one. I'm looking at Clay Webb. He needs a good
Yes,
combine.
he had a bad Senior Bowl. Grazer Bell. Do you need a good combine? Because he's also fringe first round
It feels more
consideration.
like consolidation for him.
It does,
With a
doesn't
good
it?
combine, he's got a chance he goes first round.
Uh, Yeah, I think he is potentially a first round player.
If he has a stellar combine, probably definitely sneaks into the first round.
Yeah, he'd be the one you'd be looking at for like the Chiefs or something. Like Chiefs will probably love him or something like that. So I agree. It, interesting though. Who's the top offensive lineman in the draft? Who gets drafted first at offensive line?
Probably Will Campbell.
Do you reckon he should be? I guess the question is, do you reckon he is the best one, or do you reckon he's not? Who's the best offensive lineman?
Uh,
See, I think it's Kelvin Banks.
I think Banks.
Yeah,
I
I
go
think,
Banks and then Campbell, and then it's wide open. They're the top two for me.
yeah. I mean, looking who can sneak into the first round with a good. I mean, Savanea, the Arizona tackle guard. I know he's on the periphery. Could potentially get in. Wyatt Milam should get in there. Who else is on the periphery? Who could get in? Oh no, if Ursary does well enough, I think Ursary could be a first round pick. I think he should be. That's
It
my
wouldn't
one there.
surprise me.
No, someone will love his size and they'll see. Yeah, I think that he should. But anyhow, let's move on to the defensive side of the ball and get through this because there's a few to go. Defensive lineman, Tommy Aking from Maryland, Darius Alexander from Toledo, Tyler Barron from Miami, Tyler Batty from BYU, Zeke Biggers from Georgia Tech, Yaya Black from Iowa, Warren Brinson from Georgia, Broughton from Texas, Jordan Birch, Oregon, Jamari Caldwell, Oregon, Abdul Carter, Penn State, Alfred Collins, Texas, Howard Cross III, Notre Dame, Fadil Diggs, Syracuse, Ethan Downs, Oklahoma, Donovan Azuruaku, Boston College, Joshua Farmer from Florida, Ashton Gillott from Louisville, the Michigan pair, Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, Mike Green from Marshall, Eric Gregory from Arkansas. Oh my God, there's a lot. We will have to break these in half. Ty Hamilton, Ohio State, Derek Harmon from Oregon, Harrison Hunt from SMU, Ahmed Hassanain from Boise State, Tonka Hemingway from South Carolina, Cam Horsley from Boston College. I'm going to start with that half there. I mean, there's potentially a lot of talent here. Abdul Carter, can he do anything to become the first overall pick here at the Combine? I
No,
feel like with a stellar Combine, he could, you know.
nope. Because ultimately it will come down to the offers the Titans get. I don't think it matters what Carter does.
Okay, that's fair. I could.
I think, yeah. I mean, if I look at the Titans and I look at are they ready for a rookie quarterback, they weren't ready for Will Levis.
Hmm,
And I don't think anything's changed. So why would they be ready for Cam Ward?
hmm,
Take Abdul Carter or trade the first round, trade first overall. Don't take the quarterback.
no, no, that's fair. That's
If they take
fair.
a quarterback, like say, someone might trade up to second overall for Abdul Carter.
Hmm. I mean, it's a fight between him. It feels like it's a fight between him and Mason Graham for first defender picked.
Yeah.
Like Mason Graham should be in that conversation as well.
Well, I don't know because
I mean,
I think it goes Carter, Will Johnson, Mason Graham.
ooh, you got Will Johnson before him. That's interesting. Potentially, maybe. Mike Green. Does Mike Green need to do? Because is this a case of he is now a teen, or is there some
I
world
love him, but
here?
I feel like this is getting out of hand.
I do. I think teens is too high.
I
Is
think, yeah, I see him at like 15 overall, and I think that is too rich for my blood. If someone wants him
but
there, they can have him,
but if
but don't
he
even consider moving anywhere into the teens.
but if he blows up the combine, could he go higher, or has he reached his ceiling now? Because
If
I
he
think
blows up the
14.
combine, we will not have any chance whatsoever.
Could he
I think
make
it's
top 10?
consolidation. If he blows up the combine, he's top 20.
Oh, I think
No
he's
two
there
ways about it.
now. I don't know what he can or can't do. I guess with him, if he kills the three cone and stuff like that, then
Maybe he goes from top 15 to top 20 to top 15.
yeah, I think this is potentially something there for him. Guys who fringe it, Derek Harmon, he's fringe.
He's got the size, like saying he's got all the tools.
Yeah, it just feels like I don't know. There's just something that is saying no, and I'm not quite sure what it is for a first round pick. But he's big, he's nasty, he's mean. I think it's just the track record in big games that's a bit lacking. But I don't know if there's anything he can do to change my mind at the combine. There's some good talent here, though.
Darius
I
Alexander, smaller score guy, could do
does
with a
he?
good combine.
Yeah, for him, I think it's all about. I mean, what's the knock on? I mean, I guess it's just a competition thing with. I'm not sure how much more he can do. Like, I don't think a great combine will elevate him higher. It will keep him where he is, but a bad combine might knock him down. I don't think he got anything to gain from it.
No.
It
See,
feels like.
yeah. Donovan, is the knock the size? Is he what? Is he going to be
Yeah,
6'2"?
he's 6'3". It's the 240-ness nature of where he's at. He's a little lighter, but I still like him from that point of view. I tell you what, the one I'm praying for out of this, I have
Ashton
thought,
Jalot.
yeah,
He could do
he's
if
the
he has a good
same.
combine.
Ashton Jalott and Donovan Azuruaku are in that category of disrespected ACC edge rushers, as is the SMU one. Oh fuck, what's his name now? I did him the other day. Um, he's going to be on here somewhere. What the hell is he?
Elijah
D-
Roberts.
yeah, Elijah Roberts. Um, he would be absolutely on there for me. I tell you who I've absolutely fallen in love with, and we've seen more recently, Tyler Batty, the BYU edge. I I watched a video, I watched a documentary about him the other day. He nearly died in his freshman year, you know. He got a head injury when he was on a SUV, not an SUV, a quad on his family's ranch, and he missed a lot of his freshman year because of it, and it nearly killed him. But you watch him and you listen to him, like he is the most Dan Campbell player in this draft. And we didn't see this before we did the day three prospects, but I love him to death. And I would love us to get him as a development edge. And, I do hope he has a good combine because he doesn't deserve to go late on day three.
I
Um,
think Tonka Hemingway.
yeah,
I think he needs a good one because I think it's the size and the weight for the position he plays because
yeah,
he's not an
abs
edge rusher.
no,
He
no, he's
can't, a
not.
290 pound DT is going to struggle.
Yeah, he is. He needs to, I think he needs to really show again, the upper body strength. Because again, they're saying these days, technique does atone for lack of body strength and stuff like that. You got good
Yeah,
technique,
yeah.
you can
So
overcome it.
who did the Bucks draft for a DT? Small guy.
Oh, was it Ash's favorite one from Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
No, not Cam. Oh,
it
why
was.
do I keep saying Cam?
Yeah, the guy from Pitt that's only like 6 foot, 6'1". He's a
Yeah,
tiny
yeah, yeah,
DT.
yeah. He's gonna kill me for forgetting that, but I know what you mean.
So you
Oh,
can overcome
Jesus.
the size.
You can. Oh God, I don't know where we get. So Cam Horsley, I really like out of Boston College. He's just not got the production sack wise, but I think he's so like Aleem McNeil, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins from Georgia, Jared Ivey. I'm interested about this with you because we were
He's
talking
got
about
size and
Princely the
strength.
other
He
day.
lacks athleticism.
We're
So the
talking,
free cone drill and that'll be massive.
but we're talking about Princely. They don't like. Would you prefer Princely or Jared Ivey? Because I think for me, Ivy's got the work ethic and
Yeah.
he'd be the one who
I
goes in
think
there.
Prince is
But
more talented, but he'll be a lot more
Princely's,
expensive. He might
yeah,
cost you 28.
yeah.
He's probably not as good against the run.
No, he's not.
Yeah. Like say, yeah, he may not have the motor.
I don't know.
And like you say, yeah, is there an attitude?
Potentially. Oh, with Princely, I think Princely. Yeah,
Is there a chip on the shoulder?
yeah. His interviews are going to be big, and I think a lot of teams might pick up on some of those plays and be
Yeah.
like, "Okay,
Like you
what are
say,
you doing with this?"
Ivy, I
And
don't mind him, but he's just where.
yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to see him do well though and give himself a shot. Who else we got in there? Cam Jackson, Florida, Landon Jackson
Landon.
from
See, he's getting a lot
Arkansas.
of love.
He is from his Shrine Bowl, a Senior Bowl
Yeah.
performance,
I've
but
seen a
I will
lot like
say
him maybe here.
he mincemeat Carson Vincent, and I love Carson, but
Hard worker, decent size, good motor.
Do you remember that his breakout game against Alabama when I think he sacked Milrow 5 times? That's where he came to prominence, and you were just like, you looked at him and you're like, oh my God, this is the next hottest thing in the NFL. He's going to take it by storm, and it's never quite materialized, but there's potential there with him. Savion Jones, LSU, George Joyner from Minnesota, Kyle Kennard, South Carolina. I mean, these are guys who've got production there. Sean Martin, West Virginia, Walter Nolan. You know what? The more the days go by, I'm more enamored by Walter at 28. I don't know about you, but just the thought of Walter Nolan, Aleem McNeil, and DJ Reader as a three-man front for us makes me a little excited.
Uh, I love him, but if I'm honest, take about 13 picks off that. I think he's going before Mike Green.
Oh, really? You reckon
I
he's
think he's
going
a
that
top.
high?
Yeah, I've seen him taking like 13, 14. I think he won't be taken long after Mason Graham.
God. Yeah, he is. I think he's underappreciated and he's still in first round consideration. I'm with you.
I think, yeah, I don't think we'll get a sniff at him. But I say I like the thought of him, like say, yeah, get DJ
Hmm.
Reader to train him up
Yeah.
next to Lee McNeil.
Yeah, absolutely. God, who else I got in there? Omar Norman Lott
All
from
the
tennis.
Dajo guys are talking about him out there like as an outside linebacker, but put him on the edge.
Yes, I'm hearing interesting tidbits about him as well. yeah,
He offers versatility.
he does. And you look at the UCLA edges outside linebackers. Obviously, last year they had their absolute stud who came out, who was like,
Latu,
what?
Latu.
And how high did he go? He went in the teens, didn't he,
Yeah.
Laiatu Latu? It's a good school for those kind of edge rushing guys. They're very technically gifted, and they're usually lightning quick as well, which he is. Um, ones who would so James Pierce Jr. is in there from Tennessee. Now I've just seen someone's
Yeah,
posted an
I've seen a lot of.
article.
I've seen the last few days from multiple sources saying, like you say, he's having a
He's
world of issues.
he's got an attitude issue, which
Apparently,
is
he was once
why
going top five, and now he's
I
not
s-
going in the first round
I
anymore.
said he was going to be a first overall pick. I think it was next year because he was only he's only a junior
Yeah.
and he's not
This
progressed
time a
this
year
year.
ago, like I said, coming off that outstanding year, everyone said, yeah, top five
Yeah,
pick.
yeah, 10 sacks in
And
the
now it's
SEC, did
don't touch him with a
well.
barge pole.
No, and I'm wondering where his
And I don't
floor's
know
going to
why.
be
I
now.
hadn't seen anything credible. I've seen people say stuff, but you haven't shown me to back it up.
No,
But
I
I'm
mean obviously
scared. I'm now not. I don't want him now.
it's the smoke without fire, isn't it?
Yeah,
Obviously,
it worries me.
if it knocks him down to 60, then you're like, well, surely you've got to take the
Yeah,
risk here.
if he
But
falls that far, you take a punt on it. Don't you? 'Cause like I say, everyone will like say Micah Parsons in it. Everyone said
yeah,
don't touch him. Everyone said he's a bad egg. And
yeah,
I look at it now and I think, yeah, maybe he's got an attitude, but he's backed it up.
yeah, absolutely. I tend to side with the player until I can see something credible. So that's the one there. The next name after this is one of the biggest buzz guys at the minute, Aeneas Peebles. Everyone took, like I think he got the most pressures out of any interior lineman. Oh, it's this the pass rush win rate as an interior lineman was up there with like a lot of edge rushers because generally the edge rushers have better pass rush win rates than the interior guys, but his is right up there with some of the best elite edges in this draft. And like he's in day three consideration as well because he's again short, and people say he's not the greatest pass rusher in the world, but it kind of feels like people he's the people's champion right now, Aeneas Peebles.
Yeah, like you say, he's a guy that's got an unconventional body type for his size, but yeah. And at school where he's not got a lot of attention, but he's been very, especially in the ACC, he's been very problematic for teams.
Kalijah
He's been
Kancey,
good.
that's the pit one. Maybe he's this year's Kalijah Kancey. 6'1", 290.
Undersized, scrappy interior guy that gets pressure at the middle.
Mm, yeah, and it's again he could probably do with a good comment. His measurables are probably not going to do him the best, but you hope there with him. JJ Pegues from Ole Miss, he's another one of those linemen, probably day three, but I think he's better than he's given. Jordan Phillips from Maryland, given a lot of hype as well. Powell Ryland from Virginia Tech, Javari Ritzy from UNC, Elijah Roberts, SMU. Key Robinson, Alabama, Ty Robinson, Nebraska, Kyman Rucker, UNC, TJ Sanders, South Carolina, Jack Sawyer, Ohio State,
He needs it because I feel like he's falling out the first round.
Yeah, it's his size, isn't it? People get him at his size as well, and obviously production
But
until
isn't he
Michigan
like
broke
6'5",
him.
260 like Hutches?
Yeah, it's I think it's where they want to put him, and they say he's too
People seem to say as
light.
well like attitude, like he's not a Dan Campbell kind of player. Obviously I
I
don't know.
disagree
I
heavily.
don't
Yeah.
know what he's like or
My vibe off him is he's a perfect Dan Campbell player. Like he takes accountability. He leads from the front. Like he sets the tone.
yeah, he's got a high motor as well.
He's a buzzsaw.
Yeah, he's the player after Jack. So we're going to look at like say that everyone loves that. I'm not sure about.
Nick Skouerton.
Yeah,
See, I'm on the Nick Skouerton train, but people are going he's too heavy and he's going to be a can crusher guy who can't get to the quarterback. I'm like, I disagree. I can see where people are coming from. But it's Tamu. All their D linemen suck. Sorry, suck. But they don't reach their potential, right? Shamar Stewart, Shamar Turner, also not reached their potential. Shamar Turner is one of the most undeserving. Is it Turner? Which one is it? Who's the round
yeah.
one one? He is the most undeserving first round prospect of all time. Not of all time, but of this draft. I don't know why he gets the love that he does. Um, but Nick Skouerton, I think, should. If he drops to 28, I will take him before that clock's even started. That's how much I believe in
I've
him.
seen someone say that, yeah, that I've seen people put him at 28 to Detroit.
I think he should. I think he'd be great here because, you do technically want a big end here, but you want a big end who can get to the quarterback, and he can. Elijah Simmons, Tennessee, Tim Smith, Alabama, Barron Sorrell from Texas, Nazir Stackhouse from Georgia, who
Stackhouse, he's a space eater.
mm,
Straight
he's
up,
a good nose
he's a nose
tackle.
tackle,
He's a
isn't it?
great nose tackle.
Yeah.
I think,
He's a beastly man. You know what you're getting.
yeah, someone should get
See
him at a good
Josiah Stewart,
value.
I've seen in the second round, people send him to
Oh,
Detroit.
I don't
It's at
know. I
60.
can't. I can't. When you're playing next to Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, and you get not the production that he has. Like, you should get so many one-on-ones with that. I feel he's underachieved given what's on that line. You've seen Princely and Ivy benefit from two stud nose tackles at Ole Miss, but the Michigan guys haven't done it. I'm not sure. Braden Swinson, Junior Tafuna, he wants to carry on his. Princely, David Walker from Central Arkansas, he needs to carry on having a great one. Dion
Deontay Walker
Walker,
needs a
he needs one.
he didn't have a good.
I feel like he's plummeted. A
Yeah.
lot of people talked about him when the season finished, but nobody's talking about him
A lot of
now.
people were like, oh, look at the measurables, like, but like, oh, look at the way he plays and how the way he uses his
Hmm.
body.
Well, that's the thing with Shamar Turner. It's his measurables. Oh, he's 6'6". I
Yeah.
don't care.
Walker
He's
will have like five good players, but then he'll have like three terrible ones.
yeah. He's not gotten 2 sacks in a season. I'm sorry, but if you're that good, you should be doing more than that. So no. CJ West from Indiana. He got a he got a big shout out. I can't remember who from today, but he's another popular guy on the circuit right now, on that Indiana D line, which was great this year. Then Mikael Williams from Georgia, Tyleik Williams from Ohio State. I don't hear anything about Mikael Williams anymore yet. He's there in the first round consistently. Maybe just
Yeah.
the most under the radar, not under the
Yeah.
radar, but
Feels like a
he's
guy that, like you say, probably can't hurt the stock, but can't do much more. He's
he's
just
just
feels like a first
breezing.
round lock.
Yeah, he's just breezing. Like, nothing he can do is going to upset him unless it comes out that he's a
Yeah, he's
terrible
done the hard
person.
work.
Yeah. So yeah, we've gone through a lot of those. Two groups to go. We've got the linebackers now, which could be quite interesting. So we've got Eugene Asante from Auburn, Jeffrey Basser from Oregon, Carson Bruner from Washington, Teddy Buchanan from Cal, Jihad Campbell from Alabama, Barrett Carter from Clemson, Jamon Dumar Johnson from Kentucky, Power Eccles from North Carolina, Jay Higgins from Iowa, Shamar James from Florida, Kobe King from Penn State, Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame, Demetrius Knight Jr. from South Carolina, Cody Lindenberg from Minnesota, Nick Martin from Oklahoma State, Bam Martin Scott from South Carolina, Francisco Mauigoa from Miami, Jalen McLeod Auburn, Kane Madrano UCLA, Smale Mondon Small Mondon Jr. from Georgia, Colin Oliver Oklahoma State, Chris Paul Jr. Ole Miss, Tyrene Powell Rutgers, Kareem Reed Utah, Carson Schwessinger from UCLA, Cody Simon from Ohio State, Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma, Jalen Walker from Georgia, and Jackson Woodard from UNLV. Interesting bunch here as well, right? In terms of first round talent, Jalen
There's,
Walker's all the rave at the minute.
there's two names here I frequently see in the first, and that is Campbell and Walker.
So Jalen Walker's, we had this discussion, I think maybe already, but Jalen Walker's, I feel like he could. People talk about who could be the best player out of this draft class, period. Jalen Walker could be, like, he's got a Bosa first step, and if you've got a Bosa first step, you're going to get sacks in the
Very
NFL, and you're
versatile,
going
yeah.
to win a lot. It's his size, he's a little smaller, which caps him a little bit, but I feel like he's going to be the one who, if he just blasts this combine out, he could sneak top 10.
Yeah, I feel like Jalen Walker could be a huge riser. He's going to be someone, like say, that if he shows all those athletic traits, like say, we already know he's a finisher. Like say, he's got that knack about him that bring the quarterback down. Yeah, feels like a top 10, top 11 pick, and a guy that will be an instant impact rookie as well.
Oh,
Like
God,
you
yeah.
say, he'll be a guy, like say, goes top 10, 15. He'll be up there as a defensive rookie of the year candidate straight away
Abs
in the right scheme.
yeah. Oh, no, absolutely agree with you there. Is there anyone who you're looking at and you're thinking good combine, big rise? here out of these. I feel like there's potentially a few. Like
Yeah,
Chris,
the few I love, like I say, I love Swesinger. I
yeah,
like Cody Lindenberg. Like I said, two
from
guys could do well.
Minnesota.
I think Jeffrey Basser should have a good combine. Former safety. He's got elite coverage skills. If he can show the footwork, the flips, the hips, I think someone would be very happy taking Basser and he could rise fairly high.
I mean, the one I'm confused, Chris Paul, I see him all over in this draft. Where is he for you? I feel like he's around two pick, maybe. Do you see him there, or I don't?
I could see him as high as that. He feels very safe, very well rounded. He's very well respected. He's one of the biggest losses to Ole Miss for
Yeah,
sure.
I feel like he's just got. Yeah, I feel like he could be in that way. He could threaten the first round if he has a good one, potentially. Um,
It's
Out of
guys like
this.
say that need guys that need a good combine, Stutzman.
Mm. Yeah, you remember raving about him at one time. Like it wasn't that long ago either, was it?
Go back a year, 18 months, it felt like he was like a household name. It
Yeah,
don't feel like that anymore.
and he's got the Van Der Esch collar, doesn't it? I just
Yeah.
feel like that makes a linebacker look more
He's on the
badass when they're
outside
wearing
looking in
that.
now, it feels like.
I don't know where's he projected now. I don't know where his projections are
Not
anymore.
high, I don't think.
I feel like he's gone down to day three, hasn't he? In other guys here, so Jackson Woodard's one of my draft crushers. I love him to death. I hope he has a good combine. He could get up into day two consideration. I mean,
Kaiser.
see,
He had a
Kaiser
good off he's had a
is.
good off season, had a great year. He's had a fantastic career.
Let's face it, the only knock on Kaiser's his age, right? He's
Yeah.
played in college forever, but you feel like he could start day one in the NFL, so that should make his value go up.
Yeah,
It
he
should
feels
offset his
pretty pro ready.
age.
He
He
couldn't get more
does.
pro ready. It just feels like for him it's consolidation. He can't
Yeah.
get much higher than where he is. I just don't know where that is.
No, I do feel like there's no one more pro ready than him right now. Like he's a leader.
You don't play for 70 games and you're not ready.
No, exactly. You basically you're as experienced as you're ever gonna get, and he's got everything he
Yeah.
needs, and he's doing
Jahad
what he
Campbell
needs
for me
to.
feels like boom or bust because
He does, doesn't
I
he?
don't know where you play him. I don't know his best position. I don't know
It
what team should avoid him.
it feels like
It
outside
feels like
line.
he's going to slip into the first round. I don't want it to be us. It
No,
feels like a very us kind of move, and I don't like it.
it feels like he's going to be the 3-4 outside linebacker, doesn't he? He's going to be that type who you can drop him in coverage and do a little bit if you're going to try and get him out the
He's
edge.
got
You go put,
everything he needs. He's got production. He's got size. He's got swagger.
yeah.
He's got everything. It's just going to be if he doesn't land in the right team,
It's
he'll bust.
it's going to go wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll play him as an edge. He'll not get a lot of production. They'll try and drop him in at linebacker, and he just won't have the size to live there. And then they'll give up on him. I'm with you. He is the big boomer boy. He's the shiny coin, isn't he? And you
yeah.
don't know whether to grab it and you're gonna fall, or you're gonna grab it and you're gonna be rich. That feels like what he is. I don't think there's anyone else who's gonna threaten round one in
No,
this.
don't
I
think there's
think
anyone else that could get
there'll
close.
there'll be some in round two, etc. But yeah, it's potential in there, but we'll see. And then we'll finish with the DBs. There's quite a few in here. So we've got BJ Adams from UCF, Zay Alexander LSU, Trey Amos from Ole Miss, Jade Barron from Texas, Billy Bowman Jr. from Oklahoma, Kobe Bryant from Kansas, Denzel Burke, Ohio State, Sebastian Castro from Iowa, Elijah Clark, Syracuse, Keaton Crawford, Nevada, Mello Dotson, Kansas, Nick Emenwari from South Carolina, O'Donnell Fortune from South Carolina, Zar Frazier from UTSA. I mean, the Zar Frazier train's growing, right?
If
Do
he
people
measures in,
like
he
his
gets that. If
size?
he gets all 6'3", 190 pounds in, if he can do a fast 40 as well, he's the kind of guy that someone probably just automatically puts up like 50 spots on his board.
Yeah, I agree there. I feel like that applies to Sebastian Castro as well.
Yeah, because he's
Uh,
undersized, because he's only like 5'10", 5'11". But he's the one guy here that can play safety, corner, and nickel. If you can play
mm,
nickel as well as him, you're already pretty coveted.
you are. You've got your big safety. Trey Amos. is yeah, I don't, how high do you see him? I know he says one of the biggest losses to that Ole Miss team
Yeah,
in a safety
feels like
class
he's a fringe
that's.
first rounder. I think.
I mean, could he go into the first with a good combine?
I think he could, yeah, just because of the position he plays,
Mm.
and if he is 6'1", for me, I don't know the big question. Billy Bowman, 5'9",
But he
safety.
he's had a good season. He's had a good off season as well,
He
and
has, but
he's
yeah,
got the production to back it up.
he's going to have a good combine to overcome that.
Yeah, he's going to have a good vert and get a good vert up there, and you're maybe going to have to be quite nifty in your 40 as well. I know safeties are given a little bit more leeway, but why
He's
don't?
light as well. Yeah, he's going to have to be good.
Yeah, the Kansas ones. Obviously, your Kansas pair are in there.
I think Kobe Bryant,
He'll
he
run.
already feels like the diamond. He's a diamond in the draft already. I can tell.
He'll run the quicker 40, but Melo Dotson will do the better strength numbers, I feel, potentially.
I could see that. Yeah, because is Dotson heavier?
I think Dotson's, Kobe Bryant's like 170. Does he need to change his frame? Does he need to come into this combine a little heavier, or would you just leave him how he is?
I'd try.
Even if it's just getting to the 180s? I guess
Yeah.
seeing a 1.7 and seeing a 1.8 is,
I mean, we
it's
just saw a
stupid,
corner
isn't
taken
it?
back in the first round at 170 a couple of years ago. The Commanders.
And Emmanuel Forbes, and they busted him big time. That's just,
Oh well, yeah. That's not because he was a bad player. I'd like to say, yeah,
no.
it's just he wasn't the right fits.
But
Yeah,
he's set back small DB's years, right, hasn't
yeah.
he? Because
Bryant
of
could
that.
do with a couple of cheeseburgers. It won't slow him down. It won't change his play. See, a couple of first rounders here. So Jedi Barron, I see in the first round a lot. Eman Wari,
He's become
people
a
love him.
popular flavor, hasn't he?
Yeah, as a do-it-all safety and like 6'2",
Mm,
strong, big. He's physical. He's got a pop about him.
And I like O'Donnell Fortune as well. He's not first round pick, but I like O'Donnell Fortune in there. The next guy on this list, Maxwell Hairston. Could he
I've seen
could
him to
he
the Lions
look
at 60, and I didn't hate it at all.
could he get higher?
No, I
No.
don't think he can get to
Do
the
you think
first
he's
round.
found his ceiling? Oh well, I don't mean like just maybe like
I
top.
think he's found his ceiling. I think he's comfortably a good second round player.
Could he maybe get top 40 or something? Do you reckon? Or is he sort of he'll be
I
there
think
and
he's
that's
about 5'11". If a good workout, yeah, he could be top 40, top 50.
yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like that. I feel like he's going to be a good pro.
Yeah. Okay. Who else we got in there? Jordan Hancock, Ohio State, Jamari Harris, Iowa, Marcus Harris from Cal, Tommy Hill from
I see Tommy
Nebraska.
Hill a lot. Max and Hook. I say
Mm,
he's a well-rounded safety.
and Toledo DBs. One went
Yeah,
in the first round
he
last
could go.
year.
He could do himself maybe a whole good round's worth of good, just because people don't know who he is.
No, no, they don't, and they probably should. Who else we got in it? Travis Hunter. I think he will do DB. He's officially a DB, but he'll probably do some bits of
Elijah
both.
Huzzy, I remember that name. Is he like 5'7"?
Yes, he's tiny. He's teeny, teeny, tiny, tiny. Will Johnson, Michigan, a bona fide top five. I don't think he can do anything to hurt his draft
No.
stock here. He's going to be up there. Bilal Coney from Western Michigan. He had some buzz at one point, but then it disappeared. Don't know why. Ray One Lane the
Lane.
third
We've got the
from
Navy
Navy.
safety.
He had a bad. I don't know. I can't remember how his All-Star game went. I don't remember seeing him much.
I don't know if it
But
got up touch, but I say he's going to be a guy to watch
mm,
purely because, like I say, coming from a service school.
yeah, he is. Robert Longerbeam, the Rutgers corner, continuing their line of DBs coming through the draft. Jason Marshall Jr., Florida. Mac McWilliams from UCF. That's a name we can get in some while go as well. RJ Mickens from Clemson. Malachi Moore from Alabama. Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame. Now, isn't that interesting? Benjamin Morrison was a first round pick before his injury, and now I don't see him anywhere near the first round.
No, I
Um,
frequently I've seen him disappear.
how low's he got? Because there were I had four studs at corner coming into this year. There was him, there was the Wisconsin one who disappeared off the face of the planet, and then there was Will Johnson and, Travis Hunter. But it feels like Benjamin Morrison's fall has been unduly
Could be a steal.
harsh. Yeah, I feel like he's been. I don't get why he's just disappeared out first round
Not
combo just because he said
self-inflicted.
no, he got injured. But a lot of these players have been in. Siobhan Ravel's been injured all season. That's not impacted his first
No,
round
he's torn an
status.
ACL and probably be just about ready. But he won't be ready to start the season.
No,
But he still seems to be a first round pick because he's
yeah.
6'3" and 195 pounds.
And Benjamin Morrison he was in the top 10 before he got injured. Siobhan Ravel was never top 10. So I don't know. That it feels like maybe he could do from his injuries, his medicals will be huge. We've got Jabbar Muhammad, Oregon, Andrew Makuba, Texas, Jacob Parrish, Kansas State, Darian Porter of Iowa State, Caleb Ransor, Tulane, Lathan Ransom, Ohio State. Jalen Reed, Penn State, Siobhan Ravel Jr., East Carolina. Don't know how much he'll do. Quincy Riley, Louisville, the often Lions mocked guy. Jonas Sanka, Virginia. Marquez Siegel from Kansas State. You've mentioned his name a few times, Marquez Siegel.
Yeah, I think the Kansas State have got a good set of DBs. I think there's another one here as well somewhere. Like I say, I think he's an interesting product that could test well.
Um, so Jacob Parrish as well. Makuba. I feel like Makuba could be a first round pick, but he's not. He's never drafted. He's
I
never
love him and
mocked
he's got the
there.
talent. I've seen everything, but I've never seen him ever put there ever.
I mean, if he's there at 60, you'd be tempted, wouldn't you? You'd be
Yes.
highly tempted.
Even though we don't have a glaring need, I still would be tempted.
Yeah, just stack the talent and work around it, as Brad Holmes says with that one. We've got Jalen Smith, USC, Malachi Starks from Georgia, Upton Stout, Western Kentucky, the 5'7"
Yeah. Strong,
DB,
like Dorian Strong.
Dorian Strong, yeah, Azariah Thomas. This is so unjustified. What has he done to
He's going
deserve
to have a
first?
good combine and prove he's not just all measurables.
How the fuck's he got in first round talk? How? It's as bad as it's worse than Shamar Turner. This is. This would be. Do you remember when the Saints took that edge a few years ago? Like, was it Peyton
Peyton Turner.
Turner?
Yeah, look how that panned out.
That feels like that would be worse than that pick if Azariah Thomas got picked in the first round. It's crazy.
Has he done
Dante.
a lot? I don't feel like he's done a
No,
lot.
no, and you know we were always fair to Florida State prospects. If they're good, they're good. You know, very nice about Jared Verse, etc. This one doesn't deserve it. Dante Trader Jr., Maryland. Malik Verdon, Iowa State. Justin Wally, Minnesota. Xavier Watts, Notre Dame. Isaac Baxter, Villanova. Noel Williams from Cal. Kevin Winston Jr., Penn State.
See,
Hunter
Kevin Winston
Vola.
Jr. about a year ago was a first rounder, but
He was.
injury.
He was. The Cal ones, Noel Williams has
Yeah,
been
Williams and Woodson.
sensational. This feels like where they could really go high. Not first round, but really high on day two. I mean, I see no reason why Noel Williams couldn't be.
He's a ball hawk, like you say. He's got hand-eye coordination. He's got the skills, the talent, the production as well, and he's had a good off season.
Maybe
Strong.
if he shows a good 20-yard dash and shows all his movement skills and that, and he's got what he needs to, maybe do some good reps, on the bench and show you've got the strength to
Second,
work in the
third round
run
pick.
game. Yeah, I don't see no reason why you shouldn't be high on there. Um, Xavier Watts. Is Xavier Watts mocked in the first? I feel in the
I
hindsight
don't
he's
feel like he
not.
does. No,
Do you think he should be? I feel like he should be. I think if you think of previous safety class, I feel like he would have gone high in previous safety classes. Is it maybe just a, I don't know.
he's got first round production.
Yeah. I don't, I think someone's going to get stupidly good value with him.
If he does have a really good combine, yeah, he may thrust himself into there.
He should have, he should be great. I mean, there's so many good ones here. Like the Minnesota ones, Justin Wally. He in
Yeah,
his
he's
own
very
right
talented. He's
is a
very
great
good.
player. So maybe if he shows out, you go high, or you're just going to get some stupidly good value from some of these guys who fall. Can anyone tank their stock out of this? I guess it's the injury reports for some of them. If Ravel's injury report is bad, I guess his stock could tank.
I suppose he can fall out the first, but I
Because
just don't feel like he falls that far.
because I feel like it's the safeties most at risk because they always get obliterated by RAS, don't they? Because The RAS is
Yeah.
usually quite low on safeties, especially the good ones, and they're the ones who have more to
You
lose.
look at Malachi Moore, he has got probably the biggest, widest spectrum I've seen of mocks.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah. Like I say, it could be terrible for him, or it could be great.
Yeah, it's. I think I think there are some guys hidden in like RJ Mickens. I feel is going to be drafted way too low for how good he is. Again, just been sort of hidden on that Clemson team. I love Darian Porter. I hope Darian Porter does well, but again, maybe that's
I
my
mean,
Iowa State
I quite
bias.
like Latham Ransom. He's been pretty
Mm,
productive as well, paired with Caleb Downs.
yeah, yeah. Again, probably again disrespected, and this feels like where there's a lot of this might you might find your value here, like your running backs, right? Your DBs, you might find some incredibly good value.
Yeah, because the top end of safety is Malachi Starks. And
What?
then you might not see another safety for 30,
Uh,
40 picks.
oh well, I mean, I guess you'll see Jade Barron.
Barron, yeah. But I feel like Barron, I think that he's getting shoehorned to corner. I think someone's
Mm.
moving him a corner. Like you say, you'll see, yeah, you might see Man Warrior end of first, early second, but then there could be a big gap.
Malachi Starks is he's creeping up, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like he's creeping not worryingly high, but like, oh my God, really?
He seems to be consensus. Like I
I
say, he's
mean,
going high. I've seen him top 10 a few times.
I have as well. Do you reckon they do in the end? Do you reckon, I can't see a world where he does, but I look at the teams who are up there and I'm thinking, is there a team need on safety that high out of them first 10? And I'm like, no. There's a lot of D-line guys in there. There's a lot of, offensive line guys in there. They're going to be quarterbacks. I think that'd be brave, wouldn't it,
You've
to
got to be
take him
brave
so
to take a
high?
corner at safety top 10, yeah.
I think that'd be brave, especially with him. Like, he's not Kyle Hamilton. And Kyle Hamilton went at 14. So I feel like that would be incredibly brave of that lot. Anyone else who needs to have a good one? I don't know. I think we've covered the vast majority of them there. Um, quickly finish. Let's finish Travis Hunter. Does he need to do anything to get the number one overall pick? Can he do it with this combine? Again,
No.
I don't know what I want to see from him. I do- It's
Don't get me wrong, I think he makes the text. I think he'd make the Titans better. I think he'd be more productive as a rookie than a quarterback would,
yeah.
I think.
I still think they should take
And they
Abdul
need
Carter.
they have a need at corner because for me, like I say, the
Hmm.
Chiefs they signed that Chiefs corner to a big money deal and he was
Hmm.
terrible. And also wide receiver has been terrible.
I think they need to take Abdul Carter there, but of course they've been burnt by taking the defensive lineman at one before, haven't they? The Titans.
Like I say, yeah, if you've got Harold Landry, you've got Jeffrey Simmons, you give him Abdul Carter, you've got one good unit at least.
Exactly, but you're gonna be in a lot of games because of the pressure they
Yeah.
bring. I feel like
It's just
that's
how patient can you be? Like say, can you give Will Levis one more year?
yeah. I would. I'd trade that pick for a haul, and I would move. I think the Titans are way too far away from being good. I think they're better
Would
off
you move
with
back a couple of spots and then you take Travis
yeah.
Hunter?
You're better off with four more picks and build get like Brad did, get talented players on your team, then worry about your
Move
quarterback
back four or
later.
five picks, take Will Johnson. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't lose really in that scenario.
No. No, I think you'd be great there. I think you'd fit well there as well. So, yeah, we'll have to see with those ones. And I'll finish it off with the specialists. Andre Borregales, the kicker from Miami, James Burnett, the punter from Alabama, Jeremy Crawshaw, the punter from Florida, Ryan Fitzgerald, the kicker from Florida State, Tyler Luke, the kicker from Arizona, and Ben Souls, the kicker from Pittsburgh. And that is your lot for
I mean, there's
combines.
nothing any
So
of them can do really.
no, 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 no. We're not going to go in depth on the kickers. We've been here enough already.
I
So
mean, they're here, but the drills they just don't matter.
no, I think someone will expend a draft pick on Ryan Fitzgerald
Yes, someone's definitely drafted him fairly high
because of
because in
the
recent years, just tell me a kicker will go early day three.
Well, it's like the
It is.
Bear. It's like what the Bears did with Tory Taylor last year. Like they picked him on what 120 something like that. I think this is where Ryan Fitzgerald got someone.
Seen Jake Moody go round three.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
not a good indication because
No,
obviously he
it's not.
struggled. But like you say, yeah, someone will do it.
Yeah, someone who's got like a comp pick and doesn't need it for
Yeah.
something else, so that
You're in a win
will
now mode and you need a
need a
credible kicker.
kicker. Yeah. I think he will certainly be the highest drafted special teamer out of them all. So it's intriguing there. So yeah, that is everything. Those are the combine. Those are your guys. Are the guys we think we need to do well. Some who might struggle, but it's going to be fun, and we'll keep an eye on what happens. Obviously, all by the time we're back next week, a lot of the measurements and everything will be coming out and whatnot. So we'll go through some of those and see who's been pinged, who's been upgraded because of all that. It's going to be good fun. And then obviously the week after we'll do the breakdown of the combine and everything that has gone on there as well. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest, all right, before we get out of here today?
Nope. Just
No.
right in my favorite time of the year.
Yeah. This is yeah, we're in a wheelhouse now. We're happy. Get smiles on your faces because of
Yeah.
all this draft
I'm more
talk.
excited
It's
about the draft and the combine until the draft. And then
yeah.
I'm always deflated. It's what could happen, then what happens.
I think that when free agency opens in the NFL, that's when you know you're near draft season, and
Yeah.
that's when everything goes on, and
Because
that's
that
when
changes all your needs as well.
it does. You can figure out where teams are going to go, what you need, etc. So, like, that's
I mean, when the
in.
Lions go out and sign Khalil Mack, we're not drafting Mike Green because they're identical stand-up edge rushers.
I've said I want Z, Hutch, Mac, and a first round edge rush. I just want us to go king deep on the edge rotation and just kill some fools because Cap's just gone up today. I don't see no reason why we shouldn't make a splash in free agency. We're gonna watch Chicago signed Trey Smith to a $21 million a year deal as a guard on their offensive line. If they can splash out when they're such a rubbish team, then we can splash out when we're such a good team. So, anywho, we've got all that to look forward to. So, yeah, in terms of next shows, main podcast is back on Monday, coming, looking at wide receivers in the NFL draft. And me and Ryan will be back next week. As I say, we'll have a little look back at the. There'll be in a couple of days of combine stuff happen then, but we'll do some other bits as well for you. So yeah, that's what's coming up. Appreciate you all. Again, if there's any questions or anything you want, leave them in the comments. The show has been recorded. Sorry we couldn't do it live, but I'll be hopefully along chatting with everyone. So yeah, that'll be good fun. We'll see you again soon. Just remains to be thank Ralph, and yeah, one per round. Enjoy the combine.